You're listening to Tara Lynn's A Geek Saga podcast. This episode features audio from a previously aired live video webcast. Welcome to Drinkin Con, the Hangover, a post-Dragon Con 2021 webcast where we talk about what we did, what we missed, and how we felt overall about Dragon Con 2021. I'm Tara, and you can find me across the web at A Geek Saga. Today, I am joined by Aaron, Dean, and Jesse, and later we're going to have a special guest who just attended his first Dragon Con. Unfortunately, Nami is missing in action, and Andrew has possibly been kidnapped by Korea, so it's just the four of us for now, but we're still going to have a really good time. I'm tired, honestly. I feel like I feel like I wasn't exhausted after Dragon Con this year, but then this week as a whole, with going back to work and everything, kind of just nixed any good sleep I got there. Sorry, guys, you want to just remind people who you are real quick? If you have any online handles you want to plug, do that. And otherwise, then we'll move into talking about the drinking game. But yeah, just remind people who you are.
Hi, I'm Dean, and let's see, in my screen, Tara's above me. We roomed together, and we are together, and we did a bunch of things at con together. And I don't have any online presence whatsoever because I am a dinosaur. And I'll hand it off to Aaron.
I'm Aaron. I don't really also have much of an online presence, but I exist. I go to Dragon Con every year, and I'm around.
I exist. That's kind of the theme of this webcast tonight, especially. I exist.
And I'm Jesse, and I'm usually at the internet at stop_Jesse_time because I'm an old, but I'm not as much of an old as Dean is. Dean.
Or as me.
I mean, I'm actually the youngest in the chat right now.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I'm still a dinosaur. But yes, stop Jesse time because, you know, I am printed on stop hammer time very early. So stop _Jesse_time.
All right. So tonight's drinking game is probably going to be not as just absolutely ridiculous as pre-Dragon Con. To be honest, I've actually gotten more drunk on the post-Dragon Con one than the pre-Dragon Con one, at least once, but I don't think that's happening this year. So our drinking game, we're going to drink anytime we mention legacy hotel rooms. I'm getting rid of the Dragon Con app because I don't think we're really going to talk about that. But so I guess we'll drink if the Dragon Con app is mentioned, but I don't think it will be. Drink anytime we mention or we say the word Habitrail instead of Skybridge. So this one's bad. It's gonna be a one-off thing though. Like if we're talking about cults, we only have to, unless it comes up a second time later. Like if we say the FedEx John cult like 6 times in like a 2-minute period, we're not drinking every single time. That's too much. That kind of is part of what did us in, I think, last time. Drink when there is an animal-related interruption. We're going to drink when I mention Red Dead or being an attending pro. And then, Aaron, you want to say your 3? And then Jesse and Dean will have to make theirs up on the fly.
Hey, Sailor Moon, taking naps, and puppets. And I'm sorry, there will be a lot of that in my discourse.
That's okay. If you talk about the puppetry track or puppets in like one section, we only have to drink the first, like when you first bring it up. Okay. We're putting that rule in place now so that I don't die. All right. So, Jesse, what do you want your drink anytime Jesse says one to 3 things to be?
Anything about BBC Ghosts or the comedy troupe that does them there. Also 6 Idiots, like whatever they're, that's going to be my thing. Okay. Or if I mention pirates, maybe.
Okay. What about you, Dean?
Oh boy. We'll start with the fleet, I guess. And
that's always cool,
how about high velocity? That'll be hurting for me and Aaron, I think. And let me see. What would be a third?
You don't need 3. Just I say one, at least 1 up to 3 is the usual rule. Like I only have 2. So I mean, if you want.
I think what's clear is I'm going to have to get more beer.
So when Dean has to get more beer, or if Dean has to get more beer, that'll be his second one.
I mean, I already had a giant beer. I'm actually drinking a Coke at this very moment, but
Blasphemy.
but I did pregame a little bit. So,
all right. So I am echoing a little bit, and I don't understand why, because I know we all have headphones on, but hopefully it won't be too bad.
I don't know.
So general at Dragon Con stuff. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. What happened in Dragon Con news after Drinkin Con 5.0 is what we usually start with. So not really much. Weirdly enough, despite the fact that we were 2 weeks out from, or about a week and a half out from the convention when we did Drinkin Con 5.0, not that much big stuff happened. Like they'd already kind of made all of the big announcements. So the only thing that really happened that like for us that changed is that mine and Dean's Red Dead panel was dropped by mistake. The video game track director had a bunch of guests cancel last minute and was deleting panels en masse and just deleted ours from the schedule. He was so apologetic though. Like he was like, well, if you come to the 8-bit ball or to Heroes and Villains, like find me and drinks are on me. And I was like, sure. But then I like really didn't feel comfortable going to the big parties like that. I wasn't sure how crowded they'd be. So yeah, that didn't happen. But I was grateful that he, offered and, wish I'd made it, but it is what it is.
Unfortunately, PJ is not with us tonight.
I know, I saw.
I'm looking at the chat right now. Alas, he was very funny last time.
Or she, I don't know.
No, we hung out with him a little bit. He came to our room, right?
Oh, good.
Yeah. He came to our Sunday night party actually. So he actually met Dean and I, and he might have met you, Jesse, like for half a second, maybe. You might have been busy though, and then he met Nami for sure. I have a picture of me and him and Nami. Yeah. So PJ was all up in our chat for the pre-Dragon Con one, but he can't be here live tonight. I'm very sad. So anyway, it's a small interruption, but yeah. So the video game track director was very, apologetic and everything, but yeah, like it was sucked that our panel was removed, but at the same time, like I was feeling pretty rough Friday and did not even leave the room until like 2:00. So it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Saying. But I don't know. Did you guys remember? Was there anything like any newsy stuff that happened with Dragon Con or changes that happened between like Saturday the 21st and when we all got there? I really don't think there were.
They finalized what was going on with COVID tests on site. That's really the only thing that I can think of.
Oh, that is
they
true.
Were
yeah.
Offering the rapid tests for $30 on site through Monday.
Yeah.
To help ease.
And they did some vaccinations on site too, but I don't know who took them.
Hey, I mean, which one did they have though? Because if you get one there, you still have to get the second one somewhere else, unless they had J&J. Well, whatever. I mean, it's cool that they offered. It's cool that they were able to finagle like having the rapid testing to make people feel better. Part of me kind of wishes if like that I'd gone maybe Monday just to like see if I'd been exposed like earlier in the week, but it is what it is. I don't think at this point I don't think I was, because all my friends have been taking tests, and I'm
well, this has also been like the least sick I have been after con ever. Like I usually get the flu sometime around my birthday or after, and it's September 11th when I usually get the flu. I don't have any of the issues, so
I haven't gotten, knock on wood, I haven't gotten con crud in a long time because I've been really careful every year about washing my hands. And I've also, I think I talked about this last time, I never drink out of the same cups of people like from other people or whatever. So usually like that has helped really. I don't think I've gotten sick from con since like 2014 or something, 2013, but we'll see. I mean, it's still
not this year.
So yeah, I mean the masks probably helped. So
yeah. I mean, the masks helped. The fact oh my God, I sure hope these numbers continue. I know they won't, but it was great having less people there. My God, it was wonderful. We could actually walk around. There were very few times where I actually felt like I was boxed in by a crowd, unless like there's that next to the Pulse Bar at the Marriott. There's that big open area where all the the costumes go to be photographed and hang out. So that to me was only the really major crowd. Other than I think Friday night was pretty busy, but that was the last day where they were selling day passes for, correct? or did they sell them for Sunday?
They sold them for
They
Sunday.
sold them for Sunday,
Okay.
but there weren't
But
a lot
Saturday was glorious, right? Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Friday,
that was great.
Friday was way
Friday
busier than
was the
Saturday.
busiest day. Friday was the busiest day by far. Like
Mhm.
it really was. But we'll get into that in a bit. So because there's like several, general at Dragon Con things. How about that Thursday registration line? Because
Avoided it.
people waited anywhere from
Mm.
people waited anywhere from an hour and 15 minutes to 3 hours.
My
Yep.
parents waited 30 minutes because they went right when it opened.
I waited until Friday morning, and I walked right in, and I got my badge. It took me all of 10 minutes. The thing that took me the longest was the guy in front of me couldn't find his vaccination card on his phone. Like that,
Mhm.
that was my whole holdup. That was it. I walked right in. It was wonderful.
So given the way that 2019 was with excellent and often badge checks, we were actually worried about not having our badges Thursday night. So we
Mhm.
we landed in Atlanta at 9 in the morning, got to the hotel, got all that done, got our bags put down, and then went and did some errands and got in line. It took us 2 hours and 10 minutes to get our badges on Thursday. And again, if I'd have known that they weren't checking like they did in 2019, we would have waited. But
Yeah,
we
I
were
wish they checked a little bit more, but
Yeah, we were concerned
they
about
didn't.
we had our
Well-
keys and we could have been okay, but at the same time, also didn't expect 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Well,
really.
also Thursday, the con, it was only like a year, like when I say, I think it was 2018 or 2019 that they
Correct,
first
2018.
had some Thursday evening programming outside of Bunny Hunch and everything. So you need a badge to get into those parties, but if you're not planning on going to those parties, really they shouldn't be. I get them badge checking in the sky bridges, but I didn't go outside, so I can't say they were or were not checking when you go into and out of the hotels. But I imagine that they weren't, because I didn't have my badge checked at all Thursday night, but I also didn't go over to the Hilton. It seems like that was when you're walking into the Hilton from the Marriott, that was the only place where they were checking badges. Or maybe it was backwards from the Hilton into the, I don't know, whatever. It was the Hilton to Marriott Skybridge that was the one where they had people checking. But
Yeah.
I mean, Nami, they tried to check for hers and she just kind of breezed by. Cause again, even though they might have some formal programming that night, it's not, I mean, that's never really technically been the start of cons. Maybe in future, it's going to be, if they're going to keep offering more Thursday programming. I don't know how much they offered this year, but in previous years it's been a couple things other than the parties. And I just I feel like if they're going to be offering Thursday night programming, then they really need to have a way more streamlined process with way more volunteers for registration on Thursday, or they need to start opening registration up Wednesday night. Even if it's just from 6 to 10 Wednesday night, you know what I mean?
I hadn't seen a line like that since my first or second year coming to Dragon 2009, 2010. I was completely shocked.
The
that it was that
2009,
bad.
2010 lines were the worst.
Yeah, so
They
I
were
was
bad.
really floored. And so also going in to know the lines have never been bad. It'll be fine. And then it was not fine. So that's something to figure, because also the Dragon Con app has a lot of programming.
Oh no.
More than you think. Becoming a thing, because they also added Thursday to the badges. Con says Thursday through Monday now. Sorry, I'm shitting like a crazy person, and I burned myself yesterday, so it's super gross.
Well, the only place I got challenged was actually that lower door to the Marriott. I came back across, and I was walking across with our buddy Carlos, and all I said to the lady, though, because I lied, I'll be honest, but I said, hey, I got here late. The registration was closed. I couldn't get my badge.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. Yes, I lied, but lots of people surely experienced that.
Lots of people did.
So, I can't, if it's not actually a con day, I can't believe they would expect people to actually be running around with badges. That's
well, that, and they closed it early. They closed
the line at 9, yeah.
Yeah, an hour earlier than they usually do. so I feel like in that case, especially like, and I get why, because they still had a line, you know, I totally understand that. But if you're going to close registration an hour before, you know, you have on your schedule, then you really can't expect people to be having badges, because after, you know, like at that point at night, like late at night. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see in the future, like what if anything changes. But yeah, if they keep having a ton of programming on Thursday and they keep pushing the programming hours forward in the day, they're gonna need to start offering Wednesday evening registration, especially since, as it seems, a huge portion of, you know, the regular, like the annual attendees arrive Wednesday or even Tuesday.
Right.
So,
Yep.
But that said, like once you got through the way they were checking, the way they had the badges, like label print, poke, like that was the fastest. Like they've got that process down really well. I haven't had a crooked badge label in years.
I think Dean said that one of the holdups he noticed might be a problem is the QR code thing. There was like somebody that he was waiting behind or near or whatever that didn't have their QR, that could not find their QR code.
Yeah,
and so like it's like little,
not the COVID card.
Yeah. So it's like little things like that like they tell you to have it ready, and like freaking have it ready, people, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, for real. Like even though it took no time to get the badge, you still have to walk through the back and forth, you know, the, what do you call them, the barriers, and like, come on, dude.
Stanchions.
Well, I don't know. This actually was, I think, kind of silly though. So I had the all weekend badge, right? And they had more booths open for the day passes than they did for the 4-day, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. So that was actually part of the day pass. People were just walking right up and getting theirs. I was actually in a little bit of a line, so I thought that was odd. And it was like 2 booths.
Well, but I guess
like 5 or 6, you know,
were those day pass booths there on Thursday though? Like I would guess they weren't, because they're. Did they even sell Thursday only badges? I think they did, but I don't imagine there were that many sold, honestly. So
they are like way cheaper for Thursday only badges. I think like a couple of years ago they were like $15. So probably maybe $20. I don't know how much they were, but
Adam in the chat is saying, you know, I wonder if they will ever mail out badges and add like RFID. That would be great. I think that it will be a long time before Dragon Con does anything like that. They tend, like one of my friends he was like new this year was saying something about the website. He was talking about like guests, and I was like, no, you're looking in the wrong place. It's not guests, it's like speakers. And he was like, so he went back and tried to look in. He's like, this website is horrible. And it's like, I love Dragon Con, but yeah, their website is, if you do not know Dragon Con, then their website is a mess, and it's very hard to navigate. And like, if you do not know the terms they use for everything, it's so difficult. And like C2E2, I know from experience, and NYCC both mail out badges, and it's really convenient. Oh, and so does SDCC actually.
And PAX does as well.
Yeah. So it's like these gigantic, I mean, and at least SDCC is for sure bigger than Dragon Con. So it's absolutely,
New York Comic Con is absolutely too.
Yeah, and it's absolutely something that can be done. But I think the problem is maybe it requires an amount of like money or something that they aren't willing to fork over, which is not, they're big, but they aren't industry sponsored the way these conventions are. Like all of those conventions that we just mentioned are absolutely industry sponsored. So
most of them are Reed Pop, I think.
Yeah. Well, SDCC isn't, but yeah, the rest of them I believe now are. Like Reed Pop has slowly been like just like sucking up all of the outside like other conventions. And like I will definitely like forego badge mailing and like that sort of stuff if it means that Dragon Con doesn't get swallowed up by a corporate monster. So just saying.
Well, so the 2 cons I've been to that had the RFID, like you walk up to the like a thing, you tap your badge on the way in and you tap it on the way out. Was SDCC and WonderCon. I don't know how that would work at Dragon Con though, because you have so many entrances. You have, it's actually a hotel, you know, or in you know, actual hotels versus, like that would work great for America's Mart at the vendor hall. That'd be amazing, actually.
Yeah.
It might actually speed up people coming in and out. I don't know, but I'm not sure how that would work. Like with the
I guess like the RFID thing though is like the RFID thing is its own thing. I think like the only issue, I mean, obviously they couldn't have mailed out badges this year with like needing to check people's COVID vaccinations and everything, but like in previous years, it's like even if you can forgo the RFID thing and the scanning of the badge at doors and everything, but like, is it still possible for them to mail out badges? Yeah. Like, of course, that means badges can get lost in the mail. You could get your badge in the mail and give it to somebody else, and Dragon Con has that, ID checking thing, but it's like, I don't know, like other conventions don't really seem to have an issue with it because they still mail you a badge with your name printed on it. So, or your name attached to it. So it's like, I feel like there's a way it can be done, but yeah, I mean, if doing something like that, if going that route means that Dragon Con has been like purchased by some big like corporate like corporate convention conglomerate, say that 3 times fast, then I don't want it.
And I don't see that happening for like 10 or 15 years if they ever get bought out by a corporate entity. I don't see that happening for even the next 5 years. Like that's not going to happen soon.
All right. So anyway, so people waited anywhere from an hour and 15 minutes to 3 hours on Friday. I was told at one point that the wait for disability services was 4 hours, which is
6 hours. I saw 6 hours for disability services.
I feel for those people because like obviously they can't be like standing. I don't know. That's rough. And I guess that means there may need to be they might need to like shuffle more volunteers over to disability service. But then at the same time, it's like, if that's going to mean less volunteers at regular registration, then we're still screwed. But yeah, that does really suck. I mean, I would like to hear more from someone that might have been involved about why there was such a long wait, but I haven't really had time to do any like digging into why. Anyway, and as Dean said, like people who got their badges on Friday, at least in the morning, were in and out in like 10 to 15 minutes at most. Okay. So moving on to something a little bit more fun. Fucking cults, man. Like I originally titled this section "Fucking Potatoes, Man," but I think it just needs to be titled like "Fucking Cults, Man," because like my first thought on some stuff that happened this year is stop trying to make Dragon Con cults happen. Like stop trying to make fetch happen, people. These Dragon Con cults, they need to be organic. I will give last year's 36 dozen eggs cult a pass because I love Tony and I think that we all needed that random hilarity during and after virtual Dragon Con. And it was a big thing. Like people really latched onto it. And it was like the thing that people latched onto if they were in that mindset of like wanting a new Dragon Con cult for 2020.
I'm down. And the shoes too.
I heard the Chad and the shoes thing, but like it's funny, but I'm not really as into it.
And that's me for the eggs. Like the eggs didn't hit with me, but the shoes did.
Yeah.
Well, Chad hit for me because it came from the Dad's Garage Improv, like D&D.
Yeah.
So
all right, I'll give you guys
friends were into that. So
yeah,
I'll give you guys that.
But they were very organic and very funny. That's not funny. What did you do?
I took a sip. And it was like entirely vodka. It was entirely vodka. Like I'm adding soda water right now because that was like entirely vodka. So now all of that said, like FedEx John was an organic thing. Somebody put googly eyes or something. I don't know. I think it was the googly eyes that happened first. And then it was a lei, and then it was stickers. And then it just became a thing at Dragon Con 2019. And then of course, like the carpet and trashy, they were things for years before people started really making them bigger. Like the carpet was a thing because it was like, you see that stupid ass carpet in a cosplay photo and you're like, that's Dragon Con, right?
It's the Marriott.
The carpet is just absolutely obnoxious. Like I'm holding up, for those of you listening to this podcast, I'm holding up a sash that's Marriott carpet, like printed. I mean, it was obnoxious, but like, yeah, if you saw that carpet in a picture, you knew. And then of course the guys from what was that
Wolfen
company?
Props.
Wolfen Props, yeah.
Wolfen Props.
They did the, you know, Marriott carpet army guy things, you know,
Which
where they
was
were calling
2015,
around.
I think. And it was
Yeah,
like
it was
2014 or 2015.
They
and
canonized that cult. Yes.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
it was the year before, I believe, maybe 2 years before they changed the carpet. So it was 2014 or 2015. I was trying to figure that out the other night, Jesse, too, and it's driving me crazy that I couldn't
Well, my
remember.
friend shared a picture from 2015, but I'm not sure. It could be 2014, but the picture was shared from 2015. So.
But yeah, so like, and then Trashy was just, I mean, it was just this. And some people, I realized this year, I realized that some people who went to Dragon Con before they stopped using Trashy don't know what Trashy is. But that's because maybe they didn't go down those escalators in the Marriott. So Trashy, was it lobby level or was it the level below?
It was marquee level.
Okay, so so it was
sure it was marquee level.
It was Walk of Fame level, like where they have the Walk of Fame now. That they. Yeah, I think you're right, Jesse. I think, no, lobby level doesn't make sense because the doors are
because there's pictures from like 2006 where Trashy is right there.
Yeah,
at the marquee level elevators.
So for those of you who don't know, Trashy, and also we're talking about cults, so you know, I'm gonna drink.
Oh, right.
So Trashy was just this like cardboard box trash can, like a white cardboard box trash can with a trash bag in it. And it would get full to like practically, I mean, it might have been better like in earlier years, but like when I started going in 2012, that trash can was like full to overflowing, like constantly. They would empty it, of course, but it was right there at the bottom of the escalators on a very busy floor of the Marriott, and it would just get full. So, they stopped using it in like 2016. I think it was the same year as the carpet, maybe the year after that Trashy just disappeared and never came back. So stuff like that. It's like, those are organic quote unquote cults in that they happened over time. The FedEx John thing happened over the course of the weekend, but like it was a big thing and stayed a big thing. So this year, there were two things. First of all, like the closed for cleaning thing. It was amusing. There were some cool costumes surrounding it. But does it need to be a cult, a Dragon Con cult? Because here's the thing, like this probably isn't going to continue in future years. No. And it literally only happened this year. Like at least with FedEx John, there was the hope that they would bring that standee back. And when they didn't, people made their own, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, or made their own altars, whatever. We'll talk about that later. Trust me, or in a little bit. But the closer cleaning thing, it's like, I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Because I'm like, this doesn't need to be a cult. It was funny. It was hilarious this year. I love that people like embraced it the way Dragon Con people do and made like cosplays around it and stuff. But I don't think it needs to be some ongoing thing.
I think it's like a wholly 2021 thing because I don't feel that they're going to be closing the panels for cleaning in 2022.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Who knows, like when we have the gamma variant or
oh my God, stop. Whatever. No, don't jinx us.
I don't know what's going to happen if we ever get over this thing.
I'm going to mention Andrew being in Korea just to make you stop talking about any additional variants.
I won't tell people not to have fun in their own way. If you don't like the cult, we can roll your eyes at it. Don't take part in it, kind of thing. They're not really hurting anybody. I find it ridiculous, though.
Right. Oh yeah.
Beyond the ridiculousness that is Dragon Con cults, but like, I also the John thing this year really soured all of it for me. Yes, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and again, let me be real. Like, I loved people having fun with it this year. I would not like if there was a close for cleaning cosplay group in 2022. I'm like still gonna find it amusing, but like I just feel like there's this push to have like a new cult every year, and it just like it's gonna downplay the just long time like it needs. I'm sorry, but it probably needs to last more than 1 year. Like again, all for people having fun in their own way, but like what I don't love is this like insistence that there needs to be a new cult every year, especially since we use that word. It's just a little bit like much for me. On that note, So the potatoes.
Potato Gate. I'm gonna
Potato
make it a
Gate.
thing.
I
Hashtag
didn't see potatoes.
hashtag
You guys
potato
saw
gate.
potatoes. I don't know what was going on with the
Okay.
potatoes. I did not see them at all.
So-
I just heard people talking about it.
Aaron is more involved in Swag and Seek, but I'm going to say what I
Mhm.
was told. And then Aaron, you explain what you were told, because I'm very interested that we are hearing two different sides of this story. So what I was told was that the potatoes were the puppetry track. The puppetry track had a like make your own puppet from a potato thing, and there were leftover potatoes. So people took now, and here's where I'm a little bit confused because I wasn't involved in this. And also I mentioned puppetry, so it doesn't count. What I am unclear on is whether it was just that there were extra potatoes from the panel, or whether it was a combination of that and people who made their potato puppets who were leaving them places, or maybe it just really was the potato puppets being left places. Regardless, no matter what it was, it came from that. People started leaving potatoes around. What I heard, people started leaving potatoes around because of that. And then I also heard that people were actually ordering from Instacart possibly, or going out and purchasing potatoes. I'm not kidding you. I had like 2 or 3 people tell me that yes, they know people who either ordered from Instacart. I swear to God, somebody told me they knew somebody who ordered potatoes from Instacart. But people,
I think that
actually,
was at your Sunday night party.
whatever. People were going out and purchasing potatoes somehow, some way. They were purchasing potatoes, bringing them into the convention, and hiding additional potatoes outside of the ones because people started seeing the potatoes and they thought it was funny.
Mhm.
So now people are trying to make that like a Dragon Con thing. And someone apparently stepped on a potato that was on the Marriott carpet because it was the same color as the, shit striped Marriott carpet, and they didn't see it, and they slipped and fell and hurt themselves really bad. Thankfully, quote unquote, it was like the last day of con, or maybe late Sunday, so it didn't like ruin their whole convention. But that does suck that somebody actually got physically hurt because they stepped on a freaking potato that somebody left somewhere. Now what I saw or heard was that it was being blamed on the Swag and Seek group, and people were talking about like, oh, we're gonna like Swag and Seek should be shut down because are you freaking kidding me right now?
Oh, you need to keep that one. That's funny. Keep that one.
Yeah, but she's gonna keep playing with it. Ellie,
It's Ellie this time. Okay.
It was Ellie. Go play with your toys. Go get your toys. Hold on a second. I'm closing this door. They heard me start talking about potatoes, and it was like immediately like, let's interrupt her 25,000 times. So anyway, I've like heard that people are trying to get Swag and Seek like shut down because of the potato thing. But the people from Swag and Seek are over here saying, no, our rules specifically state no fresh food. They might state, I actually think they might state no food at all, but they certainly say no fresh food. Because, like, I mean, if you're handing out like little packaged like bags of candy or something that are unopened, that's one thing. But I get it. Like, you don't want to be handing out like fruit and stuff that people have touched literally any year. Ew, I wouldn't want that. Like that a stranger has had their hands all over.
Mhm.
So that is what I was hearing. But like, it's also just like I've never heard of potatoes being a Swag and Seek thing, but Aaron, you heard or know something different. So
Well, in 2019, potatoes were a thing. There's a small gift bag with tiny red russet potatoes in it. Congratulations, you found swag. It's yours to keep. It's a tiny russet potato in a swag bag. Potatoes are a thing on the Swag and Seek page going back to 2 years ago, then 2019. It's sort of an aperture joke. Potatoes are a bit of an inside joke with the portal people. But also there are
But lemons should be too.
the lemons as well, yes. That's around, and all of this year people are joking about potatoes, and so some of them have faces, so I think there's some truth to the puppetry track bit, because some have googly eyes glued on them, some are reading books, have daisies on their heads. Not exactly sure where that came from. Oh, puppetry track, whoops.
oh yeah, oops.
But I didn't attend those panels, so I'm not sure about that. I know my best friend and her husband made sock puppets with little arms, and they had a great time. But the potatoes are around. Potatoes with googly eyes all this year. So
I'm showing a comment right now that's totally like a little bit off subject, but apparently someone was handing out like just
They were.
slices of pizza, and our
were
friend
warm.
ate one.
There were warm slices of pizza. I didn't have any weird reaction to it. He didn't have any weird reaction.
I don't know. I don't think people would do anything bad or whatever. I just like, and I
don't know why I took it. I was just like, oh, pizza.
I wouldn't pick
fresh, warm pizza. I don't know.
I wouldn't pick up a piece of fruit, like, or a fruit, like an apple or whatever, that I found like just sitting on a table. You know what I mean?
No, this was
like this year. I wouldn't have taken pizza from people, but like 2018, 2019, fucking absolutely, I would have.
So part of that group was actually at the Puppet Improv that night. Not the Puppet Slam, but one of the Puppet Improv events that was in the Hilton. And so they were like, who did something cool today? And they were like, oh, we were handing out pizza as Pizza Planet people until the Marriott shut us down.
Oh.
Well,
so
this was in the Sky Bridge between the Marriott and the Hyatt when
the Marriott shut them down and they were moving. They were taking their pizza and going.
And so
the Marriott wouldn't let them have it.
So you mentioned like the like a single russet potato, like which is wait, was it russet potatoes, like an actual, like a big russet potatoes?
In
or
the
a
swag
little
and seek bag, it was a little red one that fit.
Red potato or red potato
okay. Bags. Yeah.
So like handing, like putting something in a bag and leaving it places is one thing, but like what I heard about the potatoes this year was that they were just potatoes.
Then in the swag and seek page, no one's posting, "Hey, I'm placing these," but people are posting pictures of whole freaking russet potatoes of best swag I found all con, and like their swag hoards that they find, and there's potatoes, and people are posting pictures of potatoes on chairs, potatoes on water fountains, potatoes on fire extinguishers, in planters. Like, I found this potato in a planter, and I'm like,
except like, what if people hide those potatoes and nobody finds them, and then some staff member or some non-Dragon Con person a week later finds like a rotting russet potato chilling somewhere? Like, please don't, like, just don't. And don't let this, like I don't, this specifically, like, I will, fine. You want to, like, you want there to be a cult for this year? Fine. Make it closed for cleaning. I don't care. But like the potato thing, I'm anti-potato cult, because I don't want people doing it in the future because someone got hurt. I don't want people doing it in the future because we don't know what happened to the potatoes that might not have been found. And like poor staff members or like future non-Dragon Con people are like, why is there this rotting potato in my hotel room? That was like hidden in my, I don't know, hidden somewhere that like somehow housekeeping or janitor's staff didn't find. Wow, I have not drank that much. I'm very tired right now. I can talk, but like, yeah, I don't make potatoes a thing. And I also hate that the swag and seek group, like, they might have had a potato thing in the past, but like a little red potato in an actual swag bag is one thing. Like we just said, like a full like russet potato. And apparently people, and here's the other thing, like swag and seek people have always been really like mature isn't the word I'm looking for. They've been really thoughtful about where they leave things. They're not just leaving them places where it's like trash to be picked up or whatever. So, and also a potato is a thing that can roll. So like you could place it on a table and somebody, like, even somebody doesn't even have to knock that table, but something happens and it rolls off and now it's on the floor and somebody's tripping on it and injuring themselves. So no potatoes, people, please. That's my like future, like, no, don't do this, please.
I have a tiny little sort of not really exactly related story real quick. We were talking about people handing out pizza, the Pizza Planet people.
Yeah.
So I had an opposite thing. When I went to I came out of the Sheraton with my badge, and I was wearing a Pizza Planet shirt, and there were guys out there. I don't know if they were actually Papa John people, but they were dressed as Papa John, and they were just all on my ass about the fact that I have a Pizza Planet shirt on. So that cracked me up. That was pretty funny. I don't know if they were selling it or because I didn't see Papa John's anywhere at the con. Did you?
They did not have a stall in the Marriott like they usually do. Like they've had a stall in the Marriott since like 2012 or something.
Yeah, I didn't see any stalls, and I don't know if these guys were legit. Like, but
they probably weren't. They just were like, "Oh, you're getting in on our turf."
Oh, they were very angry about the Pizza Planet shirt. So yeah, it was funny.
Speaking of cults, though, I heard about this like. Or well, let me go back to, I was at the Hyatt, where we were in the Hyatt lobby Friday night, and people were there was a table in the Hyatt lobby with Battlefield Earth, copies of Battlefield Earth on it, the Scientology book, right? And
Saturday night, I think, actually.
Oh, ours was Friday night, but that they were there all weekend, I'm sure, because people were finding them all over the place all weekend. But here's part of why, probably. So I thought it was kind of funny, and I was like, ha ha ha, weirdos.
No, when we were hanging out, that was Saturday.
Oh, they were there Saturday too? Because they were definitely there.
When we were hanging out and getting photos, it was Saturday.
Oh,
because of a specific costume I was wearing. That's how I know.
Okay, but they were there Friday too, because like we were getting, like I remember we were getting well, I wasn't, but some people were getting rum buckets, which I do not drink, and they were at the table like right next to the rum buckets. So maybe I was just surprised that they were still there on Saturday, but yeah. So I was, and that was one of those things where at the time I was like, ha ha ha, Battlefield Earth, they're just leaving these on like tables around the con. Well, that's not all it was. So Life South holds the blood drive every year, but apparently this year it was sponsored by Galaxy Press. Now, I don't know if they have always sponsored it or ever sponsored it before. I think they haven't, because I've never heard of this happening before. This year they had and I've seen pictures, like pallets of boxes of Battlefield Earth, and they were trying to give copies to everybody who gave blood. Now, most people were like taking them and like whatever. Some people were like, absolutely not. But the blood drive actually lost out on donors. Like I've seen, I was looking at Reddit, and this is where I saw this, and there were like quite a few comments on Reddit, and this is just a small section of the con. So who knows how far it spread outside of just like Redditors, where people turned away from, like, they were going to donate blood, had even pre-registered to donate blood, saw this shit, and were like, yeah, they like noped right out. Now, Galaxy Press like pretends like they're just like a regular publication group or whatever, but someone on Reddit, because and kind of that's what I thought. It's like, so they publish Battlefield Earth, but they must publish other things, right? They do, but like someone on Reddit did a little digging. So thank you to the Reddit user Num6of1. So Num6of1 said that Galaxy Press apparently was spun off from Scientology's Bridge Press in the early 2000s, probably to be able to stealth Hubbard into places that would reject Scientology proper. All of the profits from Galaxy Press are funneled into Applied Scholastics International, which is once again a supposedly secular entity that promotes learning via Hubbard methodologies, i.e. Scientology. So basically, the blood drive was sponsored by Scientology, and people walked away from it because of that.
We were making fun of it. We're like, oh, Battlefield Earth, ha 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 ha. And then we were like, wait, it's the book. And then we were like, oh, wait, no. And Travolta's a Scientologist. So
Yeah.
Now it's the whole thing.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie. Isn't there a Battlefield Earth movie that he
bad.
like?
Yeah.
It's real bad.
It's terrible. It's like 1 star on any sort of, or a half star.
Is it bad
reviews.
movie night worthy?
No.
And that's only because they can't give it 0 stars, probably.
I'm not going to watch it for bad movie night. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give any proceeds.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, I'm not giving him any of my money. I will find a way to find it for free.
Well, it is. Well, it is odd in that, like, so we've seen a lot of bad movies. All of us have, and you see that they're spending money on ridiculous effects and things like that. The thing about Battlefield Earth is they actually had a budget. They actually spent money. It is production design wise, it's beautiful.
Oh, it is literally based on the book.
It is just a terrible film.
Okay.
So basically like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where the production design is amazing, but the movie itself is terrible.
Great comparison. Yes.
Yep. Anyway, that has little to do now with Drinkin Con.
Well, yeah, but anyway, so that's okay. We listen. This tangent was far shorter, and
both Battlefield Earth and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Well, Avatar: The Last Airbender has generally a pretty large presence at Dragon Con, just not Battlefield Earth typically.
No.
Yeah. So that's all the cult talk that I have for tonight. But so I don't know. Like, I don't think Dragon Con maybe really knew what they were doing. I don't know how much they need from a sponsor for the blood drive. Or maybe they've sponsored this thing before and they've just never been so brave as to be like, here's pallets and pallets of this nonsense Scientology book. We're going to start talking about our personal experiences at Dragon Con this year. Like Dragon Con, we're going to start with Dragon Con cons to get those out of the way. And then we're going to go into our lovely Dragon Con pros. But as part of that, I'm going to bring in my friend John, who is an Ice and Fire Con attendee. That's how I met him. This was his first Dragon Con. So this is going to be the section where we talk about our Dragon Con cons and pros. We don't have to go in any sort of specific order. We can discuss things as they come up. But, and when I say we're talking about Dragon Con cons, keep it agreeable. Like we all have our complaints every year, but like you can complain about something without being an asshole. And Dragon Con, especially this year, tried really hard to be good and safe. John, since you're just joining us, do you want to introduce yourself real quick? How did you end up going to Dragon Con this year? Do you have any social media for people to follow? And then we'll jump into things.
Hi, everyone. I'm John. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm a math professor, avid reader, long-time lover of nerdy things. Yeah, I'm relatively new to the con scene. I've known a lot of friends who go to Dragon Con, but I've never gone before. My intro to the con scene was Ice and Fire Con and Con of Thrones. So mostly on a smaller scale, this is much bigger. And as far as socials, I'm _numbermuncher on Twitter. If you want to see, I just talk Ice and Fire things with people. But yeah, this was my first time. And to be honest, I think I got off pretty easy on my first time. It was much smaller. I was able to get around much easier. I didn't have to wait in any terrible lines, and the weather was great to be outside.
Yeah, you got off really easy this year. Not just on weather was actually really great. Not that that's a big pro that I think just needs to go at the top of things because it's not anything Dragon Con has anything to do with. But like every few years we get a year where the weather is just really nice. This year, like in 2017, it was like straight up cold, if you ask me. But this year was like perfect. It was like at most mid 80s during the day, and then also just like nice and cool at night. So yeah, we got lucky there. But yes, John, all four of us can speak from experience that, especially coming from smaller conventions like Con of Thrones, which is I think at the biggest it was like a few thousand people, and Ice and Fire Con, which is like a few hundred people. Dragon Con we don't know the official numbers yet, I don't think, but I would hazard a guess that it was less than 40,000 people. I think it was smaller than 2012, which was my first year. It seemed less crowded. So
it was wonderful.
Yes, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. So yeah, you did get off easy. If you're planning on coming in future years, just take a deep breath.
Very different. I
John,
already know.
I know. Yeah, I know people. I've known people that are just absolutely overwhelmed with the numbers. So if you came in a good year, a very good year.
Yeah. You're getting your foot, like you're getting your big toes like dipped in the water, and like then next year probably
you're gonna get pushed in, and you're gonna be like, "Ooh, this is a lot more people than I was expecting."
Maybe it won't be back to full force in 2022.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep my fingers crossed on that one.
Take
Okay.
Yeah, I think on the closing ceremonies they said they're not gonna try and keep the amount that they had in 2019. They're gonna slowly build it up again. I hope. I'm hoping. Yeah, great.
That would be nice. Okay, so Dragon Con cons, like, and again, like we're just gonna keep this as kind as possible. I had a few people say to me this week or over the weekend, and this is a con for me just because why are people who even have been to Dragon Con for years bringing this up? Do I really need a badge? Now, yes, of course you do support Dragon Con, but in 2019, badge checks were like everywhere. They even had them randomly in the middle of like the Hyatt to Marriott Habit Trail, which was the first, goddamn it, Habit Trail drink. Which was the first time I'd ever encountered that specific situation where I had to pull my badge out as I was coming out of the Hyatt section into the Marriott section. But like this year, I can count on one hand the number of times mine got checked when using the sky bridges. There you go. It was basically only when I was going into the hotels from the street. So I get why they would do that more, because once you're in the hotels, and passing through the sky bridge is like the only place you can, but the thing is, like, I mean, I went to and from the Peachtree Center so many times, like from the Hyatt to the Peachtree Center, and I don't think I ever once got my badge checked. Like, I saw people sitting there, but they were just sitting there, like, chatting with each other, like the security guards or whatever they were. So, like, I don't know. What about you guys? Did anybody else experience, like, just almost no badge checks in the sky bridges? Because it was
I
weird to me.
experienced a fair amount, but I was also usually only out in the evenings. I couldn't get myself out pretty much earlier than 4 p.m.
True.
I didn't wear that many costumes this year, so I just had it hanging around my neck. Cause like when I'm in a full suit, I hide the badge because people want to take pictures, and it's just easier than flipping it around or whatever. But I definitely saw people looking for badges, but I wasn't challenged because it was just there, so I can't really say.
Yeah.
Panels had badge checks, like when we did the improv one on.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday night,
Of course they do.
They checked that, and then coming from food court through the Peachtree, not part of con, into the riot, there was a badge check. We got challenged pretty much every time we came home to the Hilton, through the Sky Bridge, and we pretty regularly, not so much during the daytime hours, and we were out, like, I've gotten the most sleep at Dragon I ever have gotten at Dragon this year.
Same.
So, like, I was up and around and out and about, and it was definitely more in the evenings, and definitely coming into the hotels from the outside. We had 2 dinners out in the world, and we went to the Westin a couple of times.
I didn't go to the Westin or the Sheraton all this year.
I went to Sheraton only to get my badge. I wasn't in it otherwise. So it was not as much as 2019, though. 2019, I really felt, and I'm not annoyed at badge checks.
No, I'm not either. No. I was surprised in 2019 to get it checked in the middle, and it was frustrating because it had never happened before, and they were like yelling at me about it one time, and I was like, "What the hell? Like, give me a second here." But yeah, no, not frustrated. I just thought it was weird that this year of all years, when you'd think they'd want no, like, extra people around. I don't know, John, did you get your badge checked a lot? This is your first year, so like you have no prior experience. Like, did you remember getting your badge, like people calling for your badge, or did you have it hanging out, obviously, maybe?
Well, Dean has a good point about I was in cosplay only in the evenings, and that's when I was using the sky bridges. And I feel like if you were in a costume of some kind, like they kind of just assumed. But yeah, I did get the badge check definitely going into the biggest panels, with the biggest talent before going in. But otherwise, I think if they noticed the lanyard or if you had it clipped somewhere, occasionally they would say, please turn your badge around. Why? I don't know. But,
That happened to me in the Walk of Fame. Or at least it happened to my mom. But I already know. Yeah, well, my mom wanted to go to the Walk of Fame and find my sister, who was already out of the Walk of Fame at that point. But
I just feel like I realized that a couple days ago that I didn't go into the Walk of Fame at all, and I was like, oh, sad. Like, I meant to, I just never got around to it. Now I will say that, like, with the checking them to go into panels, I of course expect that, and I think people who are saying, like, well, do I really need a badge? There are people who they don't go to panels.
I mean, I don't go to panels.
They stay in one of the main hotels. And they don't go to they don't really care about any of the official events. They just care about hanging out with their friends. So it's like, well, yeah, like if I'm staying at the Marriott and I want to go to the Hyatt, I just borrow someone's Hyatt room key, and like I have a Marriott room key, and like I can get back and forth. And it's like, I am not at all saying people should do this. Okay. I'm not. It is possible, but I'm not like, and also Dragon Con tickets aren't that expensive. Literally right now you can buy one for $85, but like, it was very odd to me to hear that from people, both honestly pre-Dragon Con, but then during and like right after, people were like, no, there were hardly any badge checks. I could have walked around like crazy without like worrying about it. And I was like, I thought there would be more this year, but I think maybe it was like a staffing thing too, I don't know.
Volunteers were very understaffed this year, like
and
everywhere.
And that's a little bit of a con to me, in that, like, not that I get the lack of staffing and everything, but that there are people who saw the way it was this year and were like, yeah, but do I actually need a badge? Because like this, like I could just go the 2 places I want to go, this way and not need a badge. Not at all saying people should do that, and that's why it's a con for me.
Well, you're talking about attendees. It's like they're the con, not the convention, though. Like, well, the attendees are the problem here, not Dragon Con.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like when I say it's Dragon Con cons, this is not like necessarily like cons at like honestly I don't think I have any that are Dragon Con specific, because like the next one I was going to say, this is again not Dragon Con's fault, but like, so previous years when it was way more crowded, I literally never had problems. Like I think the last time I had issues with internet service, which is like Facebook messaging, iMessage, stuff like that, was 2013. I really like I have Verizon. I really don't remember ever having a problem with internet service since then. Because maybe Verizon had extra towers after that or something. But like this year, like I was
you sent me a message. You sent me a message and I didn't get it until like 9 hours later.
Yeah, if I was in the Marriott, I could not send or receive iMessages or Facebook messages. I didn't use Discord at all because like my friends, like I've tried to use it with them in the past and like nobody ever like really wants to utilize it. So at least in my friend group. So like I couldn't get, I don't know if it would have mattered because like when I was in the Marriott, I had zero internet service. Like if I sent a actual like old school text message to my friends who also have iPhones, they would go through, but that was it. And phone calls were fine. But like Hyatt was not, it was like it didn't work very well without internet, and didn't always work better when I was hooked up to the internet either. And the Hilton was, it was like Hyatt was probably the best, Hilton was like second in terms of being difficult, and Marriott was like just impossible. And it was so weird to me that this year, when there were so fewer people, was the year that there were these issues with like actually getting in contact with people via internet means, not, but who I like, honestly, I don't call anybody. I don't use like straight up text messages. Like one of my friends, Ren, they have an iPhone as well. And I was like trying to like, I messaged them and it wasn't going through. I'm like, fuck this shit. And I'm like, just send it as a regular text message. But I kept forgetting to originally send it as a text message. So I'd have to like wait 20 minutes for it to not go through and then send it again. And it was just really weird to me that this year of all years was the year I was having trouble getting in contact with people when there were like half as many people as there usually are or less. I don't know. Aaron, you said you didn't really.
Yeah, in the
you
Marriott.
Did too. Okay.
So I will say it's probably those the high fantasy track rooms, that M level, like down there in the basement. In those rooms, I had no signal of any kind. Like I just couldn't be had. I had to like come back up to the atrium level to like do anything.
Well, high fantasy is lobby level. So theirs is actually ground level. So they should have been okay. And I had totally fine like regular cell phone service there, but I honestly I don't think I went down to the M level once this year.
I did,
which is so weird for me. Like so
because
weird.
people were actually hanging out in costumes in the Marriott level and the Marquee level, so I did actually go in the and I didn't have any problems sending things, but I also have AT&T, and AT&T has like a big tower downtown, so I usually have really good service at Dragon Con.
Yeah, I had to reset my phone a couple times, but sorry, Aaron.
No, that's okay.
But overall, I didn't really have those problems. My carrier is T-Mobile, so I don't know if that makes a difference. But
what's your carrier, John?
Google Fi.
Oh, weird. So we all have so we have two T-Mobile, one AT&T, one Verizon, and one Google Fi. I don't even know what that is, honestly. But like, yeah, that's so weird. Like, I guess like, and it's not a complaint. In again, not Dragon Con's fault at all. It was just so weird to me that like there are so many fewer people there this year, and I had bigger problems getting in touch with people than previous years. And I think my next comment is going to lead into some of Aaron's cons. The long ass restaurant experiences. Now, again, not the convention's fault, and also not entirely the restaurant's fault, considering understaffing. What I heard was that who they were when the restaurants were fully staffed, they were a lot of new people who didn't know how things went, that they kind of like pulled in last minute, which is kind of the hotel's fault, because like, why are you hiring people like a week or two before the convention? Like, you've known this is happening. You should have at least brought them in and trained them, but whatever. But like, I don't think I sat down to eat once at a sit down restaurant without it being a 2 to 2.5 hour experience. Like, just like at one point I was like, I'm not sitting down to eat anymore. I'm tired of this wasting my time. 22 Stories was awful. High Velocity was worse somehow. And 22 Stories was really, that was me that mentioned High Velocity. That doesn't, well, I'll drink to it anyway, but it doesn't really count. Are we one and the same? So whenever I mention High Velocity, I
didn't know it was person specific mentions. I thought it was anybody.
Oh no, it's supposed to be person specific, but you and I guess, are one and the same. I don't know. So I know obviously Dean did the sit down and eat thing. But like, did you guys sit down and eat at all? And like just have this like, and it's like, oh gosh, like I don't want, it's like hard to complain about it, but also I feel like it was just a level of unpreparedness that they really should have brought people in and trained them earlier than they did. We
ate off site twice. Once Thursday night, one Friday night, and those were fine because they were out. Lunch at 22 Stories, which is the big open restaurant in the bottom floor of the Hyatt, was one waitress for like the entire floor. She was very friendly the day, Sunday, we ate there. But it was very slow, very, very slow for pretzels and a couple of beers. A bunch of us went to High Velocity for lunch, one of the lunches that we had, and not in the food court. And that was a while, but it was also the day we were in our Plague Doctor outfits, so everyone was really happy to take the time to sit and not be in a getup and be able to be unmasked at a table with water and drinks. So we didn't really notice the wait on that one, though. When I was like doing the math in my head, I'm like, oh no, we were there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but we didn't care at that point. But it was slow. And we were getting, like, they have a very limited menu. It was the smallest menu I'd ever seen at High Velocity for a con. And they didn't even, like, nothing special. Like, remember the melting dragon eggs? Or did my internet just shit?
Oh, there was
Okay.
cool Pokemon dessert. Remember that?
They did have the Marriott carpet cake. They
had almost zero gluten-free things. And previous years, they've had lots of gluten-free stuff. And so I was like, okay, well, I just won't go there because I can't eat anything there. So,
we have a vegetarian in our group. One of my friend's girlfriends, and she was like, okay, I'll have a salad.
Yeah, that's literally the only option I had.
We on Saturday night, I think it was Saturday night. It was Friday night. We went to Mellow Mushroom, which is like way far away. I mean, it's down at like the 12. It's like 6 blocks or something. I don't know. I don't think it's that long, but it felt like that long. It wasn't a super long walk or anything, but it was far away, and also a little bit worrisome walking back later at night. It wasn't even super late. It was like 8:30, but still. But yeah, we walked all the way down there thinking like, oh, it won't be that. And it wasn't crowded. It was not crowded, but literally for like just we eat like my friend got a calzone and my other friend I got pizzas, and we were there for 2 hours, and it was like that's
ridiculous for that Mellow Mushroom because they're usually like super fast.
They were and they weren't even that crowded. Like we walked in and immediately got a table. Like there were empty tables the whole time. They were staffed. They had we saw like 6 different waitresses wandering around just downstairs and like 4 people behind the bar, and it was like this shouldn't. And again, I'm not going to make any bitchy comments like online or anything like that, but it was just very much like, God, is this like the new normal? Like, because I'm used to like waiting a while and having more expensive food and like longer waits at Dragon Con at these sit down places, but I'm not used to sitting down because usually they want you in and out. Mm-hmm. So sitting there and getting stuck at a table for 2.5 hours is just weird to me. I don't know, John, did you sit down and eat anywhere, or were you just kind of?
Well, so I'm normally the con hermit. So I'll bring my protein bars, my almonds. Like I will eat during a panel. I'm here to like hit all the panels. So my friends have a tradition of like skipping the parade and going to brunch on Saturday morning. So I was like, okay, I'm down for this. But I was also hearing all the same things from other con goers that they were waiting a long time. I was like, listen, like this is at the Sway at the Hyatt, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so they're like they have a brunch buffet. They're like, all right, so like let's go, but if there's like a long line, we'll not go. And so we show up. It was, sorry to be contrarian, but like there were a few people there. We were seated very quickly, and like it was a buffet. It was like $25, but fine. And that was my only sit down experience. And honestly,
Lucky.
I think it's because we went during the parade, and that's when everyone else
Mm.
was out and about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, like after my Friday night mellow mushroom experience, I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not sitting down to eat again. And I did not go to a sit down restaurant to eat again until Monday night because I was just like, nope, not doing it. It just felt like a waste of time. Like I'm at con, I have other things to be enjoying. And I agree with you. Like normally I'm the person, and I did bring a bunch of like snacks and stuff this year, but like my friends kept wanting to go sit down and eat. So I kept getting kind of like dragged into these situations where I also was like, okay, well, everybody else is doing it. So peer pressure, I guess.
We found that we ate out more than we planned. Normally, we bring food down and we do lunch in the rooms. One, because we're tired of people, because con is packed. Well, con was not packed this year. And two, we were justifying and substituting standing around on the Pulse floor drinking by going places to sit and eat and be together, because you're not going to stand around and drink with a mask on. So like that changed our con habit this year. I don't see it being a forever change because things will eventually, at some point, get back to a normal that we all know. But that's where we found ourselves going to restaurants a little bit more this year.
Well, I do. There's some traditional places we've been going to every year, particularly the Publix Draft House is a Friday night dinner I always go to, and that wasn't super crowded, but we have a reserved area and we have people serving our group specifically, so that wasn't bad. Plus offsite made it easier.
Mhm.
And then usually we have a large group that goes to the beer garden the first night of con, but we just, I don't know, people, it just wasn't as big a group this year, and but we went anyway, and it was fun, and we got served well. But in the con, yeah, really bad. So, but like we didn't have outside the con, we didn't have the experience you had at the Mellow Mushroom, Tara, but inside, high velocity.
Oh God. Yep. Dean mentioned high velocity. That's definitely a big ass drink.
But actually, you know what was great? I got to say, Peachtree, going down into the Peachtree Mall and going to those places, I had no issues at all. The waits were very fast. There were some lines, but like I went to Yami Yami, the sushi place, a couple times, and even though there was a line, it was not bad at all.
I ate at Aviva like 3 times, and it was
Aviva's one of the few places I can eat at. So
very good. Yeah, I hadn't been to that because there was a different shawarma place I had gone to there before, and that place was closed, unfortunately. But I hadn't gone to Aviva.
New owners. It's great. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's bright. Love it. So happy.
Yeah, I don't. I can't remember the name of the guy who like owns Aviva. Like Camille, thank you. He is so, and I mean, he's always been, but this year he was like especially like friendly and grateful. And like we went there Wednesday, like late afternoon, and he was like passing out like free samples of like pasta fajoule and stuff because he was like, look at this new stuff I made, isn't this great? And like a quinoa dish, like side dish. I mean, like, and he loves the Dragon Con crowd. And I also heard that they were at the Hilton. I didn't go see them or eat there at the Hilton, but like it was cool that they had like that separate thing at the Hilton.
Yeah, they had a little pop up in the lobby level of the Hilton.
I lost like 4 pounds at Dragon Con this year, which is like, I don't usually gain weight at Dragon Con because I'm walking. Like, I mean, I work out at home like crazy, but like at Dragon Con, it's like I drink a bunch and I eat kind of crappy food, but it's very sporadic. So I don't usually gain weight, but this year I like lost weight, and I'm like, I'm just going to entirely give this to Aviva, honestly, because I ate there like 3 times. And other than Mellow Mushroom and like one meal at 22 Stories and 1 meal at High Velocity, I like really didn't, yeah.
No, Aviva was great. I was like, that guy, what did he give us, like a third of a meal just standing in line waiting for what we wanted. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was like, try this new soup, and it was great. Like, yeah.
So,
really
Camille was when we couldn't go to Dragon Con 2020, a bunch of people sent him cards. We got the mailing address for the restaurant. They sent him cards. He had the cards posted at the restaurant.
Oh, that's what that
whenever we
was.
were
That's
there.
neat.
Yeah, so that was hello, my friend, I love you. That's how he greets people when people come into
Yeah.
the restaurant, and it's truly family. And he had some very difficult times during the COVID times, losing family, and then he required vaccines for his restaurant, and he got a lot of flack from people in the city for that they could not go into his space without vaccination. So it was really important for him that Dragon happen and that he be there. And it was the first time they'd done a pop up in one of the hotels. And I hope it did great business because it's great food and it's a wonderful owner. He is kindness incarnate.
Yeah. They're really good. Like, it's definitely like one of the fun, like, I need to go there at Dragon Con experiences. And it was great that there weren't so many people this year for us because there was like never, I think the longest I waited in line there was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They're pretty quick about things. So
What was great for me about that place though was that I mean I've been going consecutively minus 2020 since 2007. I've never met him. I've never been to his restaurant, and now it's like that's going to be a thing for me now. Like he's great. His food was great, and yeah, I'm amazed that I can actually get something new at Dragon Con because I've been for so many years. Like it's wonderful.
John, as a first timer, and this is since we're just talking about food, even though this would be a pro thing, did you have any like really good food experiences, or was it just kind of like because you said you kind of eat in you bring your own stuff and whatever?
Well, how were those protein bars? First of all,
Fine. They stave off hunger, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. They give you the energy.
It's convenient. No, so it was really weird. So I came down on Thursday, and none of my roommates were able to like make it on Thursday. So I was just like on my own, like to the wolves. So I'm like in the lobby of the Marriott, like getting my keys, and I run into two other people from Knoxville. I was like, they're like, we're going to get our badges. Do you want to come with us? I was like, yes, please. I don't know where to go. Please Sherpa me to where I need to get my badges. So they showed me to the America's Mart and like the food court and like where to go. So we went to that Vietnamese place, and yeah, like lines were like 5 minutes, and it was tasty. And we went there twice, and I really liked it.
Were these people you knew, or were they absolute strangers?
No, these were like people I knew. So I'm literally in the lobby of the Marriott amongst some 40,000 people, and I run into a couple that I know from my town. So it's just very fortunate. No.
Also, how dare you not message any of your Ice and Fire Con friends as if we wouldn't be like, yes, first timer, come under our wings.
Tara, is very much the same way that I run into these people from my town. Like amongst 40,000 people, I still run into people that I know. Like I'm in line for a panel and I see Becca. I'm just like in the Marriott and I see, the Gator Loki crowd, Brian. Yeah. I saw all of them. So, yeah. So, it's a big con, but it still ran into a lot of people I know. It's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, at Dragon Con, it's one of those things where, like, if you're especially like the Ice and Fire Con crowd and stuff, like if like the Ice and Fire Con crowd, like where they're going to be. It's the same way with like Dean and Aaron's like BSG crowd. It's like where they're going to be. Like we all kind of end up in the same places at Dragon Con. So like even if you've never been there before, if you're hanging out there, that's where you're going to find us. And where you found us this year is where you're going to find us next year too. All right. So speaking of food, before we move on to like, okay, well, I guess people might have other cons. So Aaron, you said con pizza sucks.
So they did away with the Papa John's contract. And
darn. Well, the last couple of years were terrible. Like in 2016, 2017, they were okay. 2018, 2019, it tasted like cardboard. I really shouldn't be having pizza, but at midnight when they have the Papa John's stall, that's literally all my brain is like, pizza! My intestines will hate me later, but pizza!
And it's like, the Papa John's changed. So in 2019, they changed to the cardboard and ketchup pizzas, which were terrible. Like, gone are the days of the quarter pizza slices. And then this year, whatever they had, like it just like bring back the regular old pizza, please. It's what people want. And you know, it just, so the new con pizza, whatever they're doing sucks. It just sucks.
Also, I will say, don't ever go to the pizza place that's in the Peachtree
No,
Center.
it's terrible.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely like I went there once. I think it might have been 2018, but it could have been 2017. And I bought one slice of pizza, and it was like doughy, like not even cooked. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever. And it wasn't even busy, but it was like the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten. So I'm always like, don't ever go there.
The one in the secret food court is okay.
Yeah, but they're not open like half the time. I was also really depressed.
This year.
Well, were they open? They weren't open Saturday morning, at least like everything I saw, because I tried to order Dunkin' at like 10 a.m. and it was like, nope, it's closed. And I was like, no. But I didn't go there. I was ordering through the app. So maybe that was my fault. But also I'm too lazy to like go wait in a line somewhere. So one of the cons, we touched on this earlier. And I don't want to get too deep into it because we already talked about it. But and I want to hear John's perspective on this as a new person's, but like also, so the FedEx John Cole, like they didn't bring back the standee, which honestly was a huge faux pas on the part of FedEx, if you ask me. But for days, I don't think it was until like Saturday, maybe, for days, it was just like it was in the wrong Skybridge. Haha, I said the right word. It was in the wrong Skybridge. It was in the Hyatt Marriott Skybridge, where there was literally just a pile of fucking trash. And I know that there were some legit things in there, you know, like there were stickers, there were Lays, there was like a FedEx box, etc. But first of all, wrong place. Second of all, trash. Like people leaving like wrappers and like half empty drinks and shit, and it was gross, right? Like John, like as a first, and Aaron, we'll get to your comments on this. I know you and I feel the same way, but John, like as a first timer seeing this, like, and maybe I don't know how much you knew about the about 2019 FedEx John stuff, but like walking by that in that Skybridge, like how did you feel about this pile of trash? Because like I know what FedEx John is, and I was pissed about it.
So I was aware of it like from last year, from like, you know, Reddit and Twitter, like it was like a thing, and like, all right, so it seems like they had the opportunity to like capitalize on it. Like they should, I don't know, like, you know, put the cardboard, like maybe put a QR code on it, like donate to X, or like, you know, something like anything like that. But no, there was no structured thing in place. So instead it was like, all right, let's leave, I don't know, like half a can of soda to this guy, or like a, you know, a LED candle. So yeah, the
LED candles and stuff is like those. There were some nice things that were there, but it was 90% trash.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Aaron, you can talk about it because you were the one that like put this in your cons thing, like
in the wrong spot, and it's like the people that made it was still like a stick, and then it had the FedEx star on top, and that I thought was good. I was like, okay, if we don't have John, blessed be, must be 18. This is a good approximation, though it's in the wrong spot. Now Thursday there was some stuff in the original spot, but again it was little stuff and nothing like specific. And how it ended up over by between the Marriott and the Hyatt, I don't know. And then it was just trash, and people were stopping, and it was like, again, like I don't want to tell people not to have fun. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
In this case, this is not telling people not to have fun.
Yeah.
This is telling people not to leave trash
Mm-hmm.
where employees have to pick it up. Because there were times where, like, listen, if I had gloves on me or something, I probably would have picked it up. But I ain't touching other people's trash, like really ever, but especially right now. Things that people have been drinking out of and stuff, like empty food wrappers, whatever. Like I'm not touching that shit right now. So like, at least not without like, you know, plastic gloves or something. And the thing is, like, employees kept having to clean it up, and people were in the cult groups like, oh, they cleaned up the memorial again. And it's like, yeah, assholes, because you keep leaving a bunch of trash. Because P.S. the second people put 2 standees there, and listen, they weren't like, one was a FedEx like NASCAR driver that weirdly actually sort of looked like FedEx John. Like he did sort of like he was like a brown haired, like like just nondescript white guy. Like so.
But somebody had labeled him a false idol, so that was funny too.
Yeah, that was
was
funny.
funny.
But and there was like a football player one, and it's like, listen though, like as soon as they started leaving those, that was fine.
Well, here's what's sad too, though, because somebody in the FedEx group, they made an effort to try to, like solve the trash problem. They put some cardboard boxes in there and some signs that said, "Don't leave trash. This is our shrine." Blah 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 blah. Right? They made an effort. They tried to make it look nice, and the hotel employees ended up throwing those away too because they were over it. They were done because
Yeah.
it had just been a pile of trash the whole weekend, and they were like, "We're not letting anything be here anymore." And that sucks because, I mean, somebody did something. I mean, as nice as they could, given what they had, what's available at con, right?
Mhm.
But it also sucks that they tried to do that. Like, why did it start off as a pile of trash? Because, like you mentioned, the LED candles, like things that would be appropriate for a shrine. As silly as this is,
Mhm.
I don't know. People put effort, like Volpin put effort into the Marriott carpet thing, and it became a big deal. You guys are just leaving trash. Like, if it's going to last, if it's going to mean anything like the Marriott, like the carpet has, or trashy or whatever, you got to make it, it's got to be, I don't know, I'm going to say classy because nothing we really do there is classy, right? But you know what I mean? Like,
Classy for Dragon.
yeah, but it just shouldn't be garbage. Like, even we have a thing called trashy, but at least the trash is in the trash can,
Mhm.
Yeah, and again, like that's my big issue there is like a pile of trash. And because here's the thing, again, somebody has to clean that up. And of course, somebody surely had to clean up the the memorial that was eventually created that had like the cowboy or cowboy, God, the football. I'm just conflating like cowboys and football now. I think it's like I'm conflating like cowboys and NASCAR and football all into one thing. But like the football player standee and the NASCAR FedEx driver standee, and like there was like the Ever Given ship thing that was around it. Like somebody had to clean that up, but at that point, all they had to do was fold up some cardboard, and it's whatever. Like it still probably sucks for the people that have to clean it up, but they left it there for days because it wasn't gross,
It was sanitary. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
And funny.
Yeah. And so like, I don't know, like I agree with Aaron. Like we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but like it really like soured like the FedEx John thing for me, that it was just trash for a while. But like I'm hoping that people learn their lesson.
Right.
So,
We'll see.
Oh, sorry. What were we going to say?
looks like someone drew. So I said it was a little stick with the FedEx behind it. Someone actually drew John's face. It was, 2.5, 3 feet tall. Drew John on it and put it there where he was. And a Red Bull and some candy and some Pop-Tarts.
Okay.
And some signs. So that's what started. That's what I saw first whenever we came in on Thursday. And then it grew to what it was on the other skywalk.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just go ahead, Dean. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, it's just a shame because like I came with my FedEx shirt and some other accoutrement, and we had a lot of fun running around being FedEx idiots. It was a good time, and it sucks that somebody spoiled that a little bit for people.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that in future it doesn't become a pile of trash. So I guess like anybody else, and actually let's go to John first, because again, newbie, what did you have cons like I don't want to say anti-Dragon Con. Do you have like cons about this year? Like about your first experience with Dragon Con?
Personally, no. Like complaint wise, like no, I had no issues. I will say what I heard from the most was that that people who are physically disabled had difficulty getting their badges for hours at a time. And I heard this everywhere, like just chatting with people in panels before they started, like they said people were having problems getting their badges, like 4 hours to get it. And this didn't impact me, but still, like, this is a problem. There's a lot of people coming to this con, and to have to go through that is difficult.
Yeah. I don't know, Jesse, do you have any cons about this year?
Well, this is not about the con itself, but mostly the oh, there's a cat.
Cat butt.
Animal related interruption, and it is a full on cat butthole. Okay. For those of you
Marley's starting
listening,
her OnlyFans.
sorry to interrupt Jesse, but for those of you listening to this as a podcast, there is a whole cat butthole on Dean's camera right now,
Yeah.
which is also very weird. No, that is not Marmalade, Jesse.
That's
that is
Appa.
Appa.
Okay,
That is
that's
Appa is
Appa.
rather
Appa's starting his
antisocial.
OnlyFans.
Yep,
Hi.
cat ass.
Appa is rather antisocial, so that was actually. I'm going to allow that. You should not cut that one out.
No, I'm not going to cut it. Well, first of all, there was no barking, so I'm not going to cut it out. The people
You just
listening to this as a
quiet.
podcast can't see Appa's asshole. So, okay, so sorry.
Into the, yeah.
Sorry, go on, Jesse.
This
Any
isn't
cons?
a con about the con itself or like the running of
Yeah,
it.
of course not.
But,
No,
like,
same.
I mean, I was one of the people, but like I noticed a lot of people did not bring like the really, really good cosplays this year. Like I was
Yeah.
kind of mad on a lot of the cosplays. I was kind of hoping to see more. I did not get very many photos because I wasn't impressed by a lot of the costumes. I was like, oh, okay, that's something I could make in like a day.
I saw some really great costumes, but yeah, I mean, me personally,
there were a
I
few,
didn't
but,
bring.
like-
I didn't bring shit. And honestly, there was one I brought that is actually like a decent, it's not a specific cosplay, but it's like a really nice like outfit. And it actually was themed to this year because it was Edwardian. And I was like gonna wear the mask and be like, oh, it's Edwardian,
Mhm.
Spanish flu, you know. But I woke up too late on Sunday and I was like, I just don't feel like putting on a gown right now or doing my hair or makeup. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It was a little bit sad. And like it was very much like yeah, it was just sad.
well,
Not in a bad way, not Dragon Con's fault. I mean, it is what it is because we all knew we were
Yeah.
gonna have to wear masks and
That's the thing. And I appreciate the people that put effort into like decorating their masks.
yes,
to be
yeah.
appropriate for their outfits, and that was great. But just for me, like I work in a hospital. I have to wear a mask all day, even outdoors. And
Mhm.
like part of coming into con, I was not enthusiastic about going at all because I don't want to wear a mask on vacation. I mean, I understand the need. I'm not poo-pooing, any of the restrictions or anything. I'm just saying it. But as far as enthusiasm coming into con, it wasn't huge, and that was one of my reasons. So there was a lot of like I just finished a new video game. Tara and I do Red Dead. I finished this other video game, Days Gone. It's a zombie apocalypse thing, but the guy's got a great outfit, and
he was at Dragon Con this year.
he was at Dragon Con. Like I could have done the suit, but I was like, I don't want to put all this time and money and effort because I go all out when I do my suits, and I weather them, everything, and I was like, I'm not going to do that and then wear a mask because that killed my enthusiasm for trying to create anything new, and I'm sure a lot of people had that experience where they just were like, I don't want to debut my brand new amazing thing
That I've
only
spent
to
hundreds of like even when you're making your own stuff, you spend a lot of money on it. Like I've actually spent more money making my own cosplays than I have on a lot of the ones that I've like purchased piece by piece. So
Okay. Well, that said, though, we did this. One of our friends came up. They wanted to do WandaVision Halloween, and so we had a Wanda, we had a Quicksilver, and I ended up with this crappy Iron Man costume that was like a Party City, like just garbage, But that was within theme, and I had so much fun in that. I also had this one great moment where I walked by this guy in this clearly expensive Doctor Strange costume, and he was just giving me the evil eye, like, you slacker. And I was like, I so enjoyed that moment because normally I am the last of I'm not slack at all on my suit. So like, that was really funny for me. But yeah,
I was
but I
really
could, had a
pleased.
mask on. So,
I was pleased with everything we saw, masks aside. Like, people did costume. Everyone's like, oh, I don't feel like costuming. A lot of us didn't feel like costuming. I had one that I've been tweaking to my Baroness to get it where I want it to be. But I reprised Punk Rock Sailor Moon, and I had a couple little things that I'd put together as like casual cosplays. But seeing, people out in their Doctor Stranges and their Wonder Woman and, a lot of the just so much. I still thought it was really good, even with masks, and like I was not disappointed in the costumes that I saw. For an off year, for a quiet year, for a year where we've all like people got out of it what they needed, I think. Like if you just wanted to go and be around people and wear what you had or what you wanted to, if you wanted to go freaking costume, then people did, and that
Yeah.
was amazing.
Well, we did, like Tara and I went to the Red Dead photo shoot in costume, and I think we got maybe our best photo together in those characters. Would you agree, Tara? The one I have on my Facebook cover
That
photo
is
right now.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was just it's a photographer, it's chance, but man, I love that shot. It's
well,
beautiful.
but also I think it was because there were fewer people, which is also like there were like 6 people at the Red Dead
that's
photo
true. That was a
shoot
little
this
sad,
year
honestly.
versus like 40 at the previous one, which is like 40 is a small photo shoot for Dragon Con, honestly. But like,
Yeah.
especially when Dragon Con 2019 was the first Dragon Con after Red Dead 2 came out, and there were about 40 of us there. But like, despite how big the game is, but like,
That's small,
yeah. But now it's been almost 3 years since the game came out, and also of course fewer attendees, whatever. But yeah, like I mean, a big part of that was like the only big photo shoots I saw like pictures of. There was a lot of people at the Loki one, I think. The Game of Thrones.
I didn't even know
shoot,
there was the Game of Thrones shoot had like nobody. There were like 15 people. Like maybe a little bit more. I didn't end up going, but
John, did you go to the Game of Thrones? Because John has like 800 pictures. Like I've seen his pictures on Facebook, so he has like all these Game of Thrones pictures. But
so unfortunately the Game of Thrones photo shoot was at the same time as the Expanse one, which I was in. So I really wanted to go to the Game of Thrones, but I didn't like have a good cosplay this year. So I went to the Expanse one, and there were less than 20 people. A lot of really good costumes for the Expanse. I just did like temporary tattoos, belter.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. We got some good pictures outdoors. There were maybe less than 20 people. We did mixed groups, like different, factions like Martian, Earther, and so forth. But yeah, it went well. So we were all outside, and we had masks on most of the time. And the photographer's like, do you want to do one mask off? We're outside, but to your comfort, keep it on if you want to. And that went really well, I think. So I didn't go to any of the bigger group photo shoots, but I'm curious to see how those went.
Yeah, I didn't either. The only photo shoot I went to was the Red Dead one. Also, I actually have like an Expanse costume. I did Anna Volovodov. Am I pronouncing it?
Mm-hmm.
Anna Volovodov. Yeah, I'm like misremembering her name maybe, but like I think it's Anna Volovodov, and I did it in 2019. But like the costume, like it never fit me well. Like a friend helped me with it, but like we had very limited time to like fit it properly because I had never done a full-on like jumpsuit before. So I had a friend, like I bought the fabric and like we like worked together on it a little bit, but she was like super late in like making it, and I'm not blaming this on her, at all. But like it was one of those like weird things where I put it on and I was like, this is like riding up my crotch. it's like not comfortable, and also I'm not sure it looks good because I'm pretty sure I have like a camel toe 90% of the time. So I wore it for like a couple hours on Saturday at Dragon Con 2019, and I've not worn it since, and I'm not really sure it can be fixed because of the way it fits. Like it would I think it would have to just be like
jumpsuits are usually made for shorter torsos.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's the thing.
Tall.
I actually have a that's my problem. I have a very short torso and very long legs. So that's why things always ride up my crotch, because like it's like they make it for like a normally like proportioned person. And even my friend who measured me like didn't think to measure me from like shoulders to crotch, which is again not her fault. She was so helpful with this because like I was like, I don't know she wanted me to do an Expanse one. I wanted to do an Expanse one, but I was like, I don't know. But yeah, so like I don't know, maybe someday I'll remake that, but like I think it'll depend on whether or not Anna ever shows up in like future Expanse shows. Like because like I love the show so much, but like I feel like she's the only character I can do because so many characters in that show are not, the female characters are not white, and I'm not going to go that route. So, okay. So that said, any more like cons before we get into the pros? Because I have some really great pros.
So the one con I have, those stupid clear masks that a lot of cosplayers were using. They're ineffective. I don't know why people were using them. I did not like them.
What, like shields, or what do you mean?
Yeah,
No,
they
like,
were
they
like
were,
for a
like-
lot of face characters, for like people who like really did their makeup to like look like a certain character. They wore I don't even know what to call it. It's like a plastic cover, but it doesn't form a
basically,
seal
like,
around
like,
their face.
like that.
Yes.
They were not. I did not like those. And I did my makeup under my mask. I didn't care because I was like, whatever. If I'm outside or hanging out with
I
my
have
makeup,
never like redone my makeup so many fucking times at a convention as I did at this con. I never saw anybody wearing those. I saw people in the dealer hall, like actual vendors, like wearing like the shields and no mask under that. And I was like, how are they getting away with this? Because that's not like, after I saw that, I like wrote up this thing for Ice and FireCon next year where it's like, at this moment, we're going to say we're going to require masks in public areas if you're not vaccinated. And P.S., that means no bandanas and no neck gaiters. And I probably should say no face shields now that I'm thinking of it, because like, wow,
Yeah.
like I really was like, I'm hoping eventually somebody came around and told these people, you need to wear a mask because a face shield literally does nothing.
Well, I didn't read any of the rules. Were face shields addressed in the actual rules?
I think they were, yeah. Well,
they
I
had
think
to be like CDC recommend style masks, like like 2 or 3 layers of cotton or KN95s and N95s.
literally just something that like
Yeah.
this, like covers.
Yeah.
Because the face shield just, there might have been like a no face shield. I think there was a no, you can't just wear a bandana thing. So I feel like face shields were probably mentioned too. But yeah, it was really like, it was rare. It was rare. And actually that really goes into like my pros for the con was that generally, honestly, way better than I expected with the mask wearage.
Big
like,
pro, definitely agree.
Yeah.
Yes, everywhere masks, even outside in lines. Yeah, people were great. Yeah.
See, I didn't wait in any outside lines, so that's interesting. That's good to know. So people, even when they were waiting outside, they were wearing masks then?
Most people were pretty good in the badge line.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only outside line I was in, so.
That's good to know because like I really was like, I didn't go there. I picked up my badge elsewhere.
You're an attending professional. It's okay.
Drink.
It's okay.
Just drink
Jesse
the
said,
cup.
"No, Jess, it's okay. I'll drink. I'll drink.
You
for
were
it. I'll
hinting
drink for
it.
it.
You
You
were
and your-
hinting it.
Fancy line.
I wasn't trying to hint it. I was just
So
trying
I-
to
You
not.
were like,
I mean,
Hitting.
this is how fancy she is. I went with her to get her badge, and Gil Gerard was getting his badge next to us. Buck Rogers, young ones. Sorry.
Yes.
I knew.
I'm with it.
Remember,
I'm hip on the old timey things.
Yeah.
remember,
right?
I'm a lesser dinosaur. I'm like one of the later dinosaurs. You're one of the earlier dinosaurs. It's fine.
Elder
I'm
Melanie-
a middle grade dinosaur.
Aaron and I are
Wait.
like, I guess is it like Triceratops are the last ones, or are they the earliest? I don't remember, but like we're the later dinosaurs.
It's like okay, so wait. So it was like it's Cretaceous. Triassic was first, Jurassic was second, Cretaceous was third. So Dean is Triassic.
Oh boy, here we go.
We need a.
Aaron, I don't know. Aaron, are you older than me? I can't remember.
No, you're
Aaron's older than me, but
Okay. So Dean is Triassic. Aaron, John, I don't know. Can we ask you how old you are? Are you
I'm 37. Put me in whatever.
Oh, okay.
part
So
I need to
so-
be in.
I may be
so
the
Dean
youngest,
is
but, like,
Dean is Triassic. The rest of us are Jurassic. But like if Nami was here, Nami would be Cretaceous.
Yes, she would be Cretaceous.
I-
And probably
What?
very drunk.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
She's like now. What is this
But
age?
that's what I'm saying. That's like,
She's
but that's
such
what
a
I'm saying.
baby.
Like
she's
it's
still a millennial, so
no, she's like 27
Jurassic.
almost. It's fine.
she's
That's
still a
still a
millennial,
millennial.
so she's
Yeah.
she's still a dinosaur. Just like very late
Well,
Very,
dinosaur.
very young one.
but she enjoys playing up the I'm the youngest person in the room thing, even though she's probably not always the youngest person in the room anymore, right? But she does her little baby
Born in
voices.
the 90s, so she is a child. But she was born early enough to be.
I don't think Nami's ever gonna join us because she got like held up. But like, I'm totally gonna like message her and be like, "Yeah, we're talking shit about you." Not in a bad way. Not in a bad.
We're just talking about how baby you are, and she'd be
but-
like, "Oh, I am baby. I love being baby. I am baby."
There it is. That's it. Yep.
Yeah,
Hi,
but for
I'm
real,
Nami.
Good-
Have I met
good
you?
im-
I'm baby.
Good impression, actually.
but for real, I was really impressed with the mask wearage. Like I saw a couple people in the dealer hall that just had the face shield on. To be honest, I never saw the plastic things that you guys saw.
Oh, I saw them a lot. I saw them a
saw
lot
them a
when
lot.
anybody was wearing like a decent costume. They had like the things, and I'm just like, I have a decent costume, and I'm wearing a stupid mask that is 2 layers of cotton. You can do that.
Mhm.
It
There
matches my
were-
costume. Come on.
There were some nights like Wednesday and Thursday night for sure in Pulse. There were a lot of people not wearing masks, but I will give them this. They were all actively drinking, like constantly. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not talking about just holding a drink in their hand. I'm talking like, you know, holding a drink and like every couple seconds taking a drink. And it's like, I mean, there's no way to like police that. There's no way, you know, even Saturday night, I had gotten to a point where I was, or well, actually, Wednesday and Thursday nights, I was like less, I think I was like a little more drunk. So I was like less like worried about wearing my mask like the whole time I was in the Pulse, and I was like taking it off and like drinking like almost constantly, but I probably could have kept putting it back on. Saturday night, I had gotten to a point where I was like, I've been around a lot of people this weekend. I'm going to like pull my mask back over my face anytime I'm not like taking a sip, but I also wasn't wearing an actual costume. And I think that kind of helped it. Like I felt less like I'm not ruining my costume by like wearing this shitty mask. Cause like I had matching masks most of the weekend, but at the same time, like they weren't the crazy, like awesome matching masks that a lot of people have. But I mean, I really think that I went into the weekend expecting that there would just be a lot of assholes, and I very rarely saw people just standing around or walking around without masks on.
Well, I given that I do have to wear one every day at work, I'm very used to it. As much as I complain about it, I'm very used to it. So it wasn't hard for me to do. But that said, like there also was those times when we were around people that we trust, that we know are vaccinated, and you know, in those moments, you know, it's not difficult to take the mask off. I don't feel uncomfortable because I know that they're safe. I know that I can trust them. And or when you're back in your room and you have a few friends over, that wasn't a big deal then. But
I was impressed by the event parties. So did anyone go to any of the like big parties in the evening? So
I didn't feel comfortable, but you know,
I usually do Yule Ball, but this year I didn't. Once they moved it to the Marriott, it just got clogged, and I just wasn't interested.
Like your fears are valid, so I was like, I don't know how this is going to be. So I went to the 10 Forward party. They limited the number of people who could go in. So you go in, it's not a giant mob of people. Like everyone's kind of dancing like in their pods, I would say. So you could like take off your mask and like have a drink like with your people and like be okay. So I was like, all right, like good on them. And then I went to the Doctor Who party, which was also similar. Like they limited the number of people who could go in. So like people are like, you know, dancing with their masks on. And if you wanted to take a drink, you could like go off to the side. I thought those were well done. Now you mentioned the Yule Ball, so we went over there, but there was a huge line to get in. I was like, no, I didn't feel comfortable there, so we just noped out of there. But from what I saw, I appreciated like how they handled it and how the con goers did it.
Yeah, I didn't hear about any drama from people not wearing masks. You know, like I mean, okay. So
I expected to, and I didn't either.
Agree.
So I was on 4 panels this year, which is so nothing for me, honestly. I was supposed to be on 5 and I was on 4, which is
You were supposed
nothing.
to be on 8,000. You were only on 4,000 this year.
Yeah. I was supposed to be on 5. I was only on 4. And I like the high fantasy track. We were supposed to all be wearing masks. There was one panel where one of the people didn't wear a mask. It was me and 2 older white men. And one of them didn't wear a mask the whole time. And I was just like, this is the only panel I've been on at this convention that had anybody who was like, I'm not wearing a mask the whole time. But yeah, it was like the people in the audience, they kept their like I literally like I could look out and I could see somebody remove their mask, take a sip of a drink, and immediately put it back on. There was nothing, like nobody was trying to sneak into not wearing a mask, which was great. So props to Dragon Con and props to all of the attendees who, you know, and I'm sure, of course, there were some people who, I'm pretty sure like the few people I saw that weren't wearing masks at all walking around. And when I say few, I'm talking like 5 total, like just traipsing through the hotels, no badge, just in there. Like I saw some guys wearing these weird, like they were like cowboy boots, but like also like water boots. What do you call those? Like galoshes. They were like cowboy galoshes. And I was like, they're not wearing masks.
But
they're not wearing masks. And I was like, you're here for the football game, aren't you?
Probably.
So I hate to be that person because like I've never had a problem with football people at Dragon Con. I know people complain about it. I've never had a problem. I have friends who go to Dragon Con who are big football fans. I like football, not college football. I could give 2 shits about that. But like Alabama was in the game, I think, in Atlanta this year, and that was like the biggest issue. But yeah, I mean, it was
about this. So as a newbie, so I went to work Tuesday, so I was chatting with a coworker who also was there, and she was like, "Yeah, it's also a big football weekend." I was like, "I didn't get that." So, explain like I'm 5. So apparently, like, what is the football impact on Dragon Con?
I think it was a little bit bigger of an impact a couple years ago when a lot of the hotels would like the football fans would find out the codes and join, but now that they are literally unable to because like the con hotels sell out so quickly now that they go now over towards the Omni, which is way closer to the stadium, and sometimes they'll come in and walk over from their hotel and be obnoxious. But if it's like one of like Alabama or Georgia or if it's like Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, any of those states, like they're just like, okay, whatever, we're used to going and just we'll drive home after this. So, you know, some of them do stay and come and party, but most of the time I don't experience too much of it like the past couple of years.
Yeah, it's called I think it's called the Chick-fil-A kickoff.
Yeah, it's a Chick-fil-A kickoff game.
So in 2019, it was Auburn, and actually well, not at the time, but like this year, our neighbors, Rachel and Josh, who are some of my closest friends, and when I say neighbors, they have the room next to us at the Hyatt. They are from like they went to Auburn, and so they're big Auburn fans. And I also, one of my coworkers is from Auburn, and so she lives in Atlanta. So she was like at Dragon Con, but also they're watching the football game. So like I have a lot of friends who go there and watch the football game too. And then I also have, I've had like long ass conversations with football people at the bars, and I honestly think it depends on which teams are playing. I've never had a bad experience directly with the football people. I know other people claim they have. I'm not going to say that those claims are invalid. I think that sometimes people say that, oh, it must be the football people when it's not necessarily.
Oh no, nerds can be jerks too.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. And but I think this year it was like, again, like I said, Alabama was one of the teams playing, and their fans do not have the best reputation. And again, I'm not saying anything shitty about all Alabama fans, but there was a good handful of people that I saw traipsing around not wearing masks, and I was like, yeah, these are like the wearing Bama shirts and stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
And LSU has been bad before. Like the couple times they've come, they've been not great.
Yeah, my worst con experience wasn't football players. It was either geeks or kids of geeks, and I say kids because they were in their late teens, early 20s.
Yeah,
They were making fun of people, which was totally uncool. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, now that we've like bitched about football players a little bit, like
I mean, it's a Dragon Con if we don't complain about the football fans at least once.
Right.
yeah.
Even if it's not them.
Should we give John a little bit of background about this? Because this is outside. He hasn't had to experience the worst of the football years.
Go on.
I mean, what was the worst of the football years? I don't want to get into this too much.
TLDR.
I started coming to con in 2008 because that's when the Chick-fil-A kickoff started. And that was my third year of con. And so we've been interacting with them for a hot minute.
They were getting a room block there while con was going on too. And so there was major interaction between the two groups. And it's like, we were cool, but the football players, they don't understand cons. They don't understand, and please be very clear, I'm not making any excuses for anybody's bad behavior, but they also don't understand sexy costumes and things like that, right? And these are belligerent dicks that are drunk there for a football game, and there's, I think you get what I'm saying. Like, there was some really bad behavior going on, and at some point they finally wised up, and I'm not sure how, but they separated us out. The football players aren't mixed in with us as much anymore.
I don't think they have a room block at the main hotels anymore. The Dragon Con, like, I don't want to say owns, but like when it comes to convention, like Dragon Con has all of those rooms at the main hotels. That's not to say that people who are there for the football game can't get into it, because listen, you don't have to have a pass to get a room when you're booking. But
I have a friend that paid full price for the weekend because he decided to come to the con very late, so he didn't have a block room at all.
Yeah, but he still only paid like $300 for like a 44th level Marriott room.
It wasn't outrageous. Yeah, it surprised me.
Well, but that was this year, though. That was this year. I think it's different in other years. But anyway, okay. So moving on. Other than good mask wearage, I think we all have like. Well, I mean, John, like you said earlier, like, oh, like it was a big convention, but I didn't feel overwhelmed. Holy crap! Like, this is the first year since like maybe 2014 that I felt comfortable out and about, like where I wasn't just constantly pressed in and crowded and feeling like I needed to like leave and go back to my room and hide for like a couple hours because there were too many people. I don't know exactly how many people attended in 2019. I don't think Dragon Con will ever actually admit it, but I would not be shocked if it was like 90,000 or more. And I think this year it was 40,000 or less, maybe a little bit less. And I'm
42.
And okay, so it was 42.
There may have been some people that didn't pick up their badges.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I think that they were saying they probably sold 40 to 45,000 passes, but so many of those people who had passes for this year who had rolled over from last year didn't attend. It was amazing.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it was still a little weird. Like, I do like the crowds in a way, but also.
But Saturday nights of the cons can get.
Yeah, Saturday, all Saturday.
I'm an extrovert, but that is too much for me.
It's a lot. We usually have a room party on Saturday afternoons after the parade to get away from the con floor. Like, we'll go shopping during the parade, which shopping during the parade was glorious. You could see all the way down the aisle and see what people had in their booths and talk to creators.
You could
and
see that all weekend, I think.
Yeah, it was so amazing to not be in the crush. Like, you can't move, you can't get across the aisle to the other booth. Like, I've wholesale walked or skipped entire aisles in the America's Mart because you can't get down them.
Yeah. I mean, I usually don't go to the dealer hall until Monday because I can't stand the crowds. But I went.
Yeah.
What day did we go? I think I went Friday and also maybe Saturday. Or no, I went. Maybe it was, I don't know. I went more to the dealer hall than I usually do, and I actually bought things, which I usually don't because I don't want to wait for shit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So John, like, as somebody coming from small conventions, knowing that this is so much bigger, how do you feel about what you experienced this year? And do you think you'll have any issues in future years, like if you come back when it's more crowded?
So what I stayed in the Marriott. So what I enjoyed a lot was that I could go to the atrium level, like in the evening, just walk around, like take great pictures of costumes. I could talk about like how they made them and, what they did, where they got their stuff from. And yeah, that was great. I did that every night. It was not crowded at all. So like I said, I was talking to a coworker when I came back, and she was like, usually the atrium of the Marriott is shoulder to shoulder. You're just
It
like
is.
pushing bodies through the whole time. I was like, that sounds like hell. Like I
It is.
I don't
It
know
is
if I could
not
do that.
great.
So like I am all in favor of like if they are doing like truncated like sale of tickets, like let's not sell as many next time. Same thing with the vendors market. So I've been at other cons, so like you go to the vendors market and you recognize a lot of the like, oh, it's the decal person or the leather person, the corset person. You've seen these before. So a friend of mine wanted to go, and I was like, yeah, sure. So I went with him, and we got through actually very quickly. I was surprised. Like he wanted to shop for things, and the line, I would say, is one of the longest lines, longest by distance, not by time, but like we were outside a long time, but it went really fast. We got inside, we could get in and out, and yeah, that part was fine.
Normally, when I go, I do try to go down every aisle. I don't buy much at cons, but
Same.
something hopefully will catch my eye. Like one year, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years ago, this random booth was selling these perfect copies of the fertility idol from the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I think that
Oh.
was 2019.
Okay, so which I have,
Animal interruption. I don't know who that was, but it wasn't us.
It's my dog. I'm sorry. It's my dog.
So
Sorry.
that's like one of my favorite things I've ever bought at a con, and it's great. It's a 1-to-1 replica. So there's things like that there's always usually something unusual or cool. Because I don't buy a lot of comic books, I don't buy a lot of toys. So I try to walk the whole thing just to see what's there. And but this time it was so not crowded that you could just kind of go down the middle and look left and right and see what booths are. Like you're not getting an up close look, but you could tell what booths are there. Like you were talking about, like there's the leather guy, there's the corset guy, right?
The wigs guy.
Yeah, and
Wigs
then
guy.
I could actually like pinpoint the types of booths I wanted to go to without having to actually go down every single aisle. So that was really nice.
Yeah, it was really, and I actually there was something that I did not buy that I wanted, but I didn't want to have to try to figure out it was an art piece, and it was on like thick, like that cardboard, but it was like matted. It was like pre-matted, and I didn't want to try to figure out a way to like bring it home to California, which screw living in California and going to Dragon Con, because like I am so so I flew to Greenville, South Carolina, where I used to live, and I drove from there to Dragon Con. So I was able to like go shopping for like snacks and drinks and bring cosplay stuff that I had left in Greenville, and I was able to come home to Greenville and like drop a bunch of stuff off. But like there's things that I would have bought, but then I'm like, I eventually have to figure out a way to get this back to California. I'm like, no, thank you. So people who fly, I feel for you, because wow, this is hard.
No,
Oh,
I
that's-
took a lot of business cards. So they're like, I was like, I can't buy this now. They're like, take a card. If you want to buy it online, we can ship it to you. I was like, all right, fine. That's fair because a lot of people are in the same situation.
Okay, so other than like there being less crowds, there were also like I loved all of the extra drink and like mead. It was mead and beer stations in the Marriott. There might have been like there's always like the you can buy the fish bowl or whatever the rum buckets in the Hyatt
bucket,
and
the cruising, yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't drink that stuff, but like, and there's always like extra little like kiosks in the Hilton, but the Marriott had a crap ton of like they had that Firestone or fire. They had like the local beer. I think it was local, or if it wasn't, it was
Scofflaw. They had
Scofflaw, yeah, and they had a meadery,
a Viking Alchemist.
Those things usually aren't there. Because they usually have too many people to fit them, and it's like, oh man, like I love it. I didn't go to many of them because cash only. What the fuck? Like, I'm sorry. Like, in a way, I get it, but also cash only. Come on, I don't carry cash. I don't want to carry cash, especially right now. I don't want to touch cash and give people cash and touch things. So,
what was that Jack Daniels table? The two statues were there. I never saw anybody manning it or selling the drinks. So, did anybody?
No, I didn't see
No, it was like they put out
$9 somethings. Yeah.
They put out the statues and they had the table there, and then I never actually saw anybody doing anything, so I'm not sure what that was about.
That said, though, the first night we were there, we found Swag and Seek. Oh my god, I always say it wrong. Swag and Seek. We found some cool Swag and Seek between the boots of the two statues, so that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, we found some little baby Yodas.
There were 2 alcoholic ice cream booths in the Hilton, and
Really?
a mead station, and then their signature drink was a whiskey slushy, which just was really sweet and not good.
Ooh, that sounds bad. Yeah.
But the ice cream is fabulous. It's fabulous every year.
Oh, it's so good. I had the butterbeer. Oh, it's so good.
The one with the Dragon's Milk Stout, which is a fabulous beer, with cinnamon red hots in it, was really.
Oh yeah, that was like the rum chata one or something. Yeah.
So
yeah, I like it's like part of me is like, oh, I hope they have this in future years. And for real, like some of the ones that were in the Marriott were actually in the places where the Papa John's pizza used to be.
Correct.
So I feel like I'm torn about this because like I want food. But also it was really cool that you could buy alcohol extra places, but also maybe don't do it cash only, like for fuck's sake, like have one of those little
especially not when we're still trying to deal with COVID and how people don't want to do cash because that means more people have touched it.
Yep.
I don't carry cash on most days in my normal life. I'm sure not bringing it to con.
I don't even know what the PIN number is for my debit card anymore. I don't know if I ever have. Just saying. All right. So before we move on to like memorable things, any last like just general Dragon Con pros from any of us?
Well, for me, it was I feel like people were more likely to be more like aware of consent, and instead like I would have a lot of people touching me to like get my attention for previous costumes, but this time they would be like no, I'm you, and like wave at me or like yell, hey Ed, or whatever, like, or hey Ghost. Oh sorry, drink.
Wait, what was this one?
I said Ghost.
Jesse, you said Ghost.
I said my fandom. Fandom. But yeah, people would shout at us like, hey, you in this costume, can I take a photo of you? And like normally I'd have people like tapping me and
Jesse is a no touchy person.
I am not a touch person. Do not
Jesse
touch
and I are very close friends, and whenever we see each other, I give Adam hugs, her husband, I give Adam hugs, and I said this too, because Jesse is no touchy.
No, there's definitely a sign language to like you hold up your phone and you point to it and you're like, and if they're like thumbs up, you're like thumbs up. No, it was a nice system.
I don't get the touching thing anyway. Like, I don't do that, and I'm a very touchy person. Like, I don't know you. I'm not gonna. Hey, you! Grab your shoulders, spin you around. Can I take your picture?
You're also not a small female.
Yes,
looks like she's 10
you're
years
also
younger than
not
she
a
is.
female. Yeah, not a female in general. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying it's like only women that experience this, but like as a femme presenting person, as a femme presenting person, like it absolutely has happened to me so many times where somebody is like, hey, and like also, oh my God, like male photographers like positioning me, and I'm like, tell me what to do. Do not touch me. So none of that happened this year. And it's never happened like at Ice and FireCon, but it's absolutely happened at Dragon Con. And I'm like, can you just tell me what to do instead of touching me? Thank you. Yeah, and I am a touchy person, but if you're a stranger, no, don't touch me, please.
Right.
Like, ew, your hands are gross. I don't know you.
Well, I think the easiest thing that you're talking about pros, obviously, we got to see some people we haven't seen in 2 years, right?
True. Yeah. Yes, big pro.
Not all of them, but a bunch of them, and that was nice. I mean, I said earlier when we started this that like I wasn't feeling this con coming in, but at the same time, it was amazing to be able to interact with these people that I love and care about, and you know that's I think that's why I go to cons though anyway, besides, wearing suits and getting drunk. Because I don't really do panels. I don't do raves. I don't really go to the events. I go to interact
I do the
with my
raves.
friends.
Tara and I didn't do the raves this year. We usually do.
That was my one, like, I wish I'd done it, but I like was just not in the mood to like go figure out how to like be in a rave with a mask on and like be drinking and crazy at like 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning. But next year we will make up for it like tenfold.
Call me if your phone works, because I want to.
Yeah. So, well, our thing is the Sunday night rave. We always go to this, like after my room party, we always go to the Sunday night rave. Like this has been like 4 years running, I think now. And well, it was 3 years running, and then this year, no, but like, yeah, next year for sure. If things are more comfortable, but okay. So most memorable things, memorable moments. Okay, yes, I do have a memorable moment. I met a very cute service dog named Sydney. She is the service dog of a friend who I guess is now like my friend, sort of. And we were like at the Marriott Saturday night, and I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I need to go back to the room and like chill. And then this woman showed up with her service dog and like a bunch of our friends, and she was like, oh yeah, you can pet her. She's an epilepsy alert dog. So she's like, you can pet her. Like, it's fine. So I literally sat on the floor of the Pulse Bar and just like petted this dog for like 20, like I was just petting this dog's belly for like 20 minutes. And like my friends are, sitting around me, they would come and say hi, and I was drinking or whatever. And it was like, this just made me feel, so that's probably my most memorable moment, was like meeting Sydney and being like allowed to like pet this adorable little, she's like an Aussie, she's an Australian Shepherd. And she was just perfect and lovely. And her mom was perfect and lovely. And I got to like get out of my like nervous, I'm around too many people. And I was still wearing a mask, and I was only taking it off when I was drinking, but I got to pet this doggy for like 20 minutes on the floor of the Marriott. And it was like the best thing ever. And then there's like people around me in cosplay and like doing their own thing, and like but I was like in my like, I wish I could afford an actual service dog, because like neither one of my dogs is they're smart enough, but they would never probably be well behaved enough to be service dogs. So it was a good memorable moment.
Same with our dog.
So Erin, biggest memorable moment for you.
I was going down the escalator, going back to the Hilton, so second floor down on the Marriott, and I didn't have my camera, and I'm dying that I didn't, because it was a Assassin's Creed Spider-Gwen.
Yes, you said that, and I was like, oh my god, like I have a Spider-Gwen cosplay, and I love her so much.
And it was like the Pirates era. It was a floor length white coat. The inside was teal with pink, all hand webbed. She had the blades. She had a ruffled shirt. She had the whole thing. She said, I asked her about it. I was like, is this an OC or is this something? Because I don't know. And she's like, well, someone did a crossover for Spider-Man with Assassin's Creed, and it was in this style. And she's like, well, why not a Spider-Gwen? So she did it, and her hair was perfect. It was this little white blonde crop, and it was the coat, and she made it, and it was just like stunning. It was beautiful, and it was so well made and unique, and like you immediately knew what it was. How can you not with that hot pink?
I
and
wish I'd
teal,
seen
right?
that because I fucking love Spider-Gwen, and like I haven't played Assassin's Creed in a while, but I used to be like really big into Assassin's Creed, especially the pirate era one. Like the pirate era one.
Black Flag.
Yeah, so that was amazing, and I didn't have my phone out or ready or anything, and we were hustling for something. It's always when you're hustling for something that you've got to find something. So that is and just her eyes lit up, and I love having those interactions because I'm not faking my excitement about this damn costume. It was amazing, and she was so excited to talk to somebody about it. So good.
Oh, I mean, I've been there. Like when I was at Drinkin Con, I think it was 2013, and my significant other at the time, this is a little bit weird, was dressed as John Marston. And also had a really good John Marston cosplay because we used to play like we like when I started playing Red Dead, it was with my ex, and we're still really good friends, you know, so that's cool. But like I dress as Bonnie McFarlane from the first Red Dead game, and nobody fucking knew who I was. Like people always knew who he was, and they were like, if they even noticed that I was with him, they were like, oh, you're that girl. And we got into an elevator at the Hilton to go to, weirdly enough, a Game of Thrones drinking game party on the 12th floor. Like we were just, this is back when they still had chair, like the like tables and like the couches and stuff, like in the Hilton on the 5th and 12th floors. So we like it might have been the 5th floor, whatever. It was the 5th or 12th floor, and we got on this elevator to go to this like party, and like, you know, unofficial party, and some girl was like, oh shit, you're John Marston and Bonnie McFarlane, and she like took our picture, and I was like, oh, you're literally the first person who has ever known who I was in this costume. Thank you. It was some girl. Of course it was a girl who knew who I was, because like all day people were like, yeah, John Marston and that girl, and I was like, I mean, that's fine. Like at least you're like wanting me in the picture, but like also like wow. So yeah, I totally feel that. Like just yeah. All right, Jesse, what about you? Memorable moments.
Moments. How about having
one memorable moment?
How about having all of my friends celebrate my birthday at midnight on Monday, like Sunday/Monday of con, with cake, and like everybody putting like these fake dollars into a tricorn hat that was way too big for me, and just showering me with love. It was great.
Yeah, and Jesse's birthday is almost always during Dragon Con.
Well, it's either my birthday or my husband's birthday, or sometimes like right smack in the middle of our birthdays, because his is August 29th, mine is September 6th. And yeah, and like people I hadn't seen since 2019 Dragon Con, and people I hadn't seen for like a year at Tara's house last year, where we celebrated Dragon Con, and it was so much fun. And I just all
right, John, your most memorable Dragon Con moment.
I met a porn star at Dragon Con this year.
Hey, whatever works, right?
What was his or her name?
So I was like, you know, it was Friday night. I'm just walking around the Marriott, like great costumes. I'm taking pictures. Things are great. And this guy's dressed as like an anime character. I'm not an anime person, but I recognized his tattoos. And like, I go up and I was like, are you Aspen? He's like, yes. He's kind of drunk, but he's like he's my height. He's a muscular man. He grabs me. He picks me up. I was like, what's going on? A porn star is picking me up. I was like, this happened. I was like, all right, okay. Dragon Con 2021.
Oh yeah, I've become friends with comic book author Paul Jenkins, and he wrote. He's very well known for writing the Wolverine's origin comic book. And so I went to his booth and I bought a copy of it and I had him sign it. I didn't even own. Oh, nice, Tara. I didn't even own that volume, so it was nice to get the volume. But he was autographing everything he sold, right? So he says, well, I should probably personalize this for you. So he opens it up and he just writes on the page, "Dear Dean, you fucker," and then Paul Jenkins. I was like, that's the best autograph I've ever gotten. So that was pretty great. But I mean, a highlight for sure is always seeing my friends. But yeah, there it is. Yeah. You fucker.
Yeah, I was literally sitting on the desk across from me. All right. So before we got a couple more things. Memorable cosplays. So for me, it was the Ever Given ship guy, which the ship said Evergreen on the side of it, but the ship's name is Ever Given. And I remember like drunkenly going up to him. I can't remember. It must have been Thursday night. It had to have been Thursday night because it was early in the week.
I think I was with you when you did.
Yeah. And I was like, you need to like block the sky bridge. You need to block the sky bridge. Please block the sky bridge and like take photos of this. And it's like, I'm sure he was already planning on doing it. I'm sure I'm not the only person who told him to do it. Like, I'm not saying that I like instigated this at all, but I was like drunk Tara, like, block the sky bridge in this thing, please. And then like he did it and I totally like missed him doing it. But like, it was just, the whole thing was like, only this year would that be absolutely perfect and hilarious. And like he had a beard and I think he had a mask under the beard. So it was this great costume because he had this stupid ass beard as like he was like a captain of the ship and he's like holding it. I don't know. The whole thing was hilarious. Yeah, he was hilarious. And it's been like a meme thing. Like we got home and the 14-year-old, the kiddo, was like, or no, we didn't go home. He sent us like a message and he was like, is this where you are? And we were like, yes it is. And I was like, oh, we're cool now because we're on Tumblr.
Well, because
I mean, not we, but like Dragon Con is on Tumblr. So Dragon Con is like a cool thing now.
He asked me, is this guy at Dragon Con? And about, I don't know, within a half hour, I found the guy and I took a picture with him and I was just like, yep. Yeah. Then the kid's like, oh my God, it's amazing. So that was fun.
And I also, Saturday night, it was like right before I had the awesome dog moment. I had this amazing Lady Dimitrescu, like on like a tall person who is also on stilts, literally like 15 feet tall, and I'm 5'8.5", so like probably almost twice my height. I mean, I'm saying 15 feet tall and almost twice my height. Neither one of those add up, but it's fine. But also had the daughters, and like that was like I really wanted to do a daughter, but the only person I knew who cosplayed Lady Dimitrescu is shorter than me. So I was like, and even with like really high heels, this person would probably still be shorter than me. So I was just like in awe of like this amazing person who's doing this amazing costume and standing on these stilts for God knows how long. And like, I was like, oh, but I also know these people. Like it was, so that was my second best costume of like things I saw. Of my own costumes, probably like surprising Dean with so we cosplay Red Dead. Sorry, drink. And I always do Sadie, and I said I would never cosplay Abigail, but us
John's
being
wife, my character's wife.
Yeah, his character's wife. So you know, us being engaged, I was like, you know, I'm gonna have this Abigail, and it's not an exact replica of her wedding dress because there were too many ruffles, and I was like, no, I don't want that. But it is, I would say it's about an 80% match. And I literally like pulled out an old Katniss wig and just like, and Becca, my friend Becca, let me borrow a brooch because I do need to get like my own like brooch for like the middle of the chest. But like, I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. I have the wedding dress and I borrowed a brooch from Becca. I will get my own, brooch for the middle of it in the future. But like I took my old Katniss wig and just pinned it all up. And it took like 20 minutes to fucking pin this giant like wig up because she has brown hair and I do not. But I came out of our room in the Abigail wedding dress and I was like, hey, it's your wife. And he was like, wow. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I thought you were more surprised than you were, but I was very pleased with my.
Well, here's the thing, because she has sworn up and down that she would never do this character because the
she's horrible.
She's not well liked in the fandom at all. Like, so, and she's not a villain. She's not like she's not like I don't know, Darth Vader, where, he's a bad guy, but he's cool, right? No, she's not cool. She's terrible. Nobody wants to be her. And yet, I'm the guy. And anyway, it was sweet. It was very sweet, and I appreciated it.
So I was very excited to surprise Dean with that. So Aaron, what about you? Your most memorable cosplays?
Well, so the most memorable cosplays wrapped up in the most memorable moment for me, which is that Spider-Gwen. I also saw the Evergreen Evergiven guy and cracked the hell up because it was so on the money for
only a Dragon Con too.
Only a dragon, and the stupid shit you see, and it was timely and it was funny.
And how much fun was he having, right? Like,
he was having a great time.
Yeah, it was great.
So many photos. Of my own thing, we did a Plague Doctor group. Of course, I have fun as Punk Rock Sailor Moon. I'm retiring that because I'm tired of wearing an updo wig. It hurts. But our Plague Doctor group was really, really popular, and I was really happy about that because we were not all the same. It was a bunch of different Plague Doctor mashups, and it was really popular. It was really fun to watch the characters organically come out, and my friends being this. And getting recognized, and the slow realization on people's faces watching that happen as they're like, see one of us, and then the other one, and then they're getting what's happening with Dr. Frankenfurter and Plague Dr. Frankenfurter and Plague Doc Brown and Plague Dr. Pepper and Rave Doctor and the Plague Joker. And that, I'll say, my husband had way too much fun. It was so organic being a Plague Joker because he's chaos, and he just got to be more chaos with a bird mask on. I have a picture of him and my best friend, and they've got their faces up and they're being birds. They're going, rah, 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 rah. It's really funny, but dumb. So that was the most fun I had in a group costume. And like for the whole weekend, just running around as that was a lot of fun.
All right, Jesse, what about you?
So it's funny. Apparently Adam and I ran into like this giant group of Matt the radar technician, and like apparently they were all together on Sunday in the Hyatt, and I'm like, first of all, this is the most Matt the radar technicians I've ever seen. Second of all, how long ago was that sketch? Like, how long ago was that?
Have a picture of a Matt the radar technician from C2E2 2016, so it was that year.
Well, yeah, because it was after Force Awakens, but so like, and then they found a Princess Leia, and I heard this. I didn't see the exchange. I heard it from like 20 feet away, where they found a Princess Leia, and they all went, "Mom, mom, 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 mom."
I'm sorry.
And I saw it on Twitter later. So I saw it on Twitter later, and the Princess Leia was like losing it, and then she got all popular on Twitter, but not her post, somebody else's share of it, but whatever. And I shared her thing of it, and it was like, so I experienced this happening. It just sounded like noise to me, because you have like 30 or 40 men going, "Mom, mom, 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 mom," to a Princess Leia cosplayer. So it just basically sounds like just noise. And as far as our own cosplays, so like my entire family, well, not my entire family, like my sister and my niece didn't do it, but my mom and my dad and Adam and I all got and did our ghost costumes, which wasn't like a big deal for like anybody at Dragon Con, because this show is not like super popular in the United States. But like I posted on the internet, and like all the English people lost their shit. So that was nice. Like all the people in the fandom that don't live in the United States were like, or if only you had a captain. And I'm like, oh, if only I had a captain. Oh, believe me, Yes.
I mean, I saw the pictures. It was super cute, though. I love that your parents got in on that with you guys.
Oh,
That's
they
so
were.
cute.
My dad was like planning how to do like the arrows in the neck, and my mom trying to figure out the stupid Edwardian dress, and just it was very funny.
All right, John, what about you? Most memorable cosplays of yourself, of your, oh my God, I can talk. I've been drinking. Most memorable cosplays you did and anything you saw.
So I was told that like it's going to be 1,000 degrees outside and inside. You're going to be in lines the whole time. So
You got
like,
so lucky.
so like, don't do an elaborate cosplay. So all of my cosplays were like no shirt, minimal clothing, like whatever I can get by with, like by like decency laws. Like that's what I wore. Um, but in terms of, I was impressed by the people who like turned around and cosplay in a couple of weeks. So like all the people who did Harley Quinn with that like Tool dress from Suicide Squad, like with the spear, I was like, yeah, well, good on them. I really appreciated that. The other one, the What If Captain America woman.
Yes, I didn't see that, but
Yeah,
I saw your picture. Like this girl had like
man.
what 3 weeks to get this
Yeah.
together.
If
Well,
not
some
a week and a
people-
half.
Well,
She
some
did it.
people had that as a thing already from like years ago because it was sort of like hinted at in the Agent Carter show. So a lot of the people did that, but
Well, a different one
But
appeared
still,
in
it
the
looks
Marvel
so
films,
good
too.
in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
I think
anyone
that
who
the
can
Marvel
take like
show
a
was
reference
different.
real fast. I was like, good on them. Good on
Yep.
them.
Which is how Dragon Con is. Like, take a reference real fast and turn it into a cosplay. You might
Yeah,
be
I-
working all night, every night for 2 weeks, but you're good.
Oh, wait a
I
minute.
did an Inception costume in 2010 in 4 weeks, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, it was a few years ago now, but I mean, when the Sharknadoes showed up, and it was right after that movie appeared, and that was great. I mean, that's exactly how
Mhm.
Dragon Con is. I mean, it's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad nobody took this because this was amazing. And this guy was around con all weekend long. A beautiful X-Men angel. Did you all see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow!
Wow.
Like those
Maybe.
wings were
I don't
unreal.
think so.
The
His
suit, well, I
wings
think
hit us all in the face. We
they were
there.
beautiful. It was I think it was a dye sub suit. It was the red and white version. Beautiful suit though, like unbelievable, and the wings were just incredible. And he was there. What, first night, right, Tara?
Yes.
I think we saw him right
I think
away.
it was Thursday or Friday. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was,
he
it
was
was
already
really,
out and about. I
really-
mean, he was obviously proud of it because he was worn a lot, but it was great, really good. As far as me, I already talked about like my most fun moment was bugging that Doctor Strange guy in my crappy Iron Man costume. So I'm gonna call that my favorite costuming moment because it was pretty great.
All right. So real quick before we close up, Dragon Con 2022 planning. Really? Woo. Oh, I'm sorry, Aaron. Did you have something else you wanted to bring up?
Oh no, just if we're good.
Okay. No, we're good. So Dragon Con 2022 planning, really. So tickets, real quick. They're currently on sale for $85. And this is something I saw on Facebook and on the Dragon Con subreddit. There was a screw up with Grotix during Dragon Con where they only had the $95 option available. So if you bought your ticket at Dragon Con and you paid $95, keep an eye out on your email because they're going to give you a $10 refund. If you don't hear anything, I mean, it's September 11th. If you don't hear anything within the next 7 to 10 days, you might want to contact them directly if you really want that $10 back. But they should be contacting anybody who overpaid. So that's really cool that they're going out of their way. And the funny thing is, like, I saw this post on the subreddit and everybody in there is like, yeah, I either don't want the refund or like, yeah, I got the refund and I'm gonna like just put it toward like a Dragon Con TV like subscription for the year or whatever. So I love that everybody's using this extra $10 to just support Dragon Con because it was a mistake. It was just nonsense. Hotels. Okay. Oh, God. So Hyatt, if you're grandfathered in, you should have received an email in August about next year's stay. I did for sure. They charge the first deposit. They charge the deposit on October 1st. The rest of the money is going to be taken like June of next year. However, because of the number of people who canceled this year, you're probably going to have a better chance than usual of snagging a room.
Let's hope. Let's
slash
hope.
possibly a legacy room. So keep an eye out. And here's my take on that. I don't think they're going to do any sort of like Hunger Games thing, but every year there's almost always in like January or February of the year that Dragon Con is happening. And so this is the Vegas one. It could happen in January or February. You also could be able to get in after, like in October. I saw people on the subreddit saying like the deposits are taken on October 1st. So they start calling on October 3rd because Hyatt gives you 48 hours to fix stuff if your credit card wasn't charged. So you could start calling on like October 3rd and get lucky and possibly get a room. If they don't release a block early next year, in both for both Dragon Con 2019 and for this year, they released a block. One was on July, I think in 2019, it was on July 7th. Whatever. 1 year it was July 7th. 1 year it was July 10th. So like just stock, like you have to have like all notifications turned on, like everything, even if you're not doing it all year long, but like there will be a block of legacy rooms released, I believe. Like there has been in the past 2020 aside, let's pretend 2020 didn't exist. So Sheridan, I thought that Sheridan did away with their legacy rooms, but I guess maybe not, because I saw today that they're apparently already sold out. So Sheridan is persona non grata, but like who cares, because it's a Sheridan and nobody should go there because it's dark and dangerous. Like except for registration, does anybody actually go to the Sheridan?
Right, back when the U-Haul was there.
Oh, I went swimming. There was that.
yeah, you guys go swimming there, but you know.
And we met some friends that stayed in the Sheraton in 2019 or 2018.
Weston, they're not legacy. There's no legacy there. Never has been. Their block opens September 29th at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you want a Weston room, be ready. Marriott, may the odds be ever in your favor. They have not announced when they're doing this. There are rumors that they are going to do it in September. Like someone in Reddit was like, isn't it, September 20th? But I feel like this is nonsense because
they always do it the first Thursday in October.
Is it the first? Because in the past,
I feel Thursday. It's like the first Thursday.
In the past, I feel like
or the second Thursday. It's like the 10th or the 3rd or whatever.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like the second Tuesday or Wednesday, but regardless, it's usually sometime in early. It's usually sometime between October 1st and October 15th, and it's sometime during the week. So there is a chance, I guess, that they might do it earlier this year because they like want that money earlier. But there's absolutely no confirmation that it's happening earlier. Hilton, I don't know, Aaron, you stayed at the Hilton.
Yeah. So per the email we got before Dragon with the updates to like early check-in and all of that, they said that we'll be getting an email a couple of weeks, 8 to 10 days after Dragon Con, about about when our first night's deposit will be taken, because they do not take it at con anymore. And then following up as to anything about when. So I heard that legacies aren't a thing anymore. Like they're not producing or giving out more legacies.
Right.
But that was prior to the pandemic, with all of these people not going or losing their legacies or giving up their legacies. So I don't have, and nobody could say anything about it whenever I asked around really politely and like super open-ended. Nobody could say anything about it because they just didn't know. So again, as Tara already said, like alerts on. Social media is the devil, but social media is how you're going to find out about it. You've got to be on it if you want a legacy.
And I'm talking about all social media. Yeah. Like keep an eye on the official Dragon Con. Keep an eye on your friends, because like I mean I've posted so many times. I've like shared a thing, on about Hyatt usually because they're the only one that seem to open legacy room blocks. But like so many times I've shared these things like immediately and they're like gone immediately, like within like 10 minutes. But that said, like with the Hilton, like I know for a fact they lost a crap ton of legacy rooms this year. So I there's no guarantee that they will open up rooms at all, let alone legacy rooms, but it does not hurt to keep an eye on things. I mean, John, you said you stayed at the Marriott, which, you know, kudos to you, because no thank you to me from me. But like
I need a Hyatt Legacy. I need to get it this year. I need to get it.
I know, Jesse, you're going to be the first person. I'm going to just call you the next time. I'll be like, I'll call you. And if you don't answer, I'll call Adam and be like, get your wife on the phone. It's Hyatt Legacies.
And call my parents after that, because if we don't answer, call my parents.
So you just have a handshake and the credit card number on file. And
Yeah. Just like, Jesse, give me your credit card number. I'll book a room for you. I've actually done that for people before. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, John, like as a first year, you know, Dragon Con person, like you said you had a Marriott room. Do you think you would go in future years and want a legacy room?
So I will say staying at the Marriott was like a roller coaster. Like I don't do heights. So like
yeah, me too.
I cling to the walls. Like the atrium is huge.
What floor were you on?
37.
Oh my God. I would hate my life.
I cannot. Like, so like the elevator's fine. Like I hold it on the bar. Elevator's fine. So I go upstairs, I just hug the wall. Like I hug the wall, I get into the room. I'm fine when I'm in the room. Like that's okay. But you know,
yeah, it doesn't seem that high when you're looking out on the cityscape.
I had to close all the curtains in the room. I couldn't. I was the fifth wheel. I was the fifth wheel in my room, so I was on the air mattress in the corner. I had to close it off. I couldn't do. It's too high. Yeah,
I'm with you.
I'm thankful for my friends who could like get a room. Like I appreciate the location of the Marriott, but yeah, it's fine.
Well, yeah,
I don't
for
have
sure.
a problem with the
things
Marriott.
we do for con.
This year. Oh yeah, I could just see Jamie Lannister. The things we do for con.
He'd push me out the Marriott.
Oh my God, no. Oh my gosh, yeah. Like
I mean, this year at the Marriott, my experience was just not great. Like the staff was
weird because what floor? What floor were you on, Jesse? Did you have to wait for elevators?
No, we were 33, and we almost never had an elevator wait. Almost never.
So Dean and I had to
go down once.
Dean and I had to wait. Not the wait. The wait wasn't the issue. Dean and I were going up to the 44th floor one time. So we hit we were in the. Okay, so you know how there's like the two large banks of elevators, and then there's like the small bank where it's like the two that face the atrium that go up and you can see everything. And then there's the one that's on the inside, right? So we press the button and the one that's on the inside opens first, which is like great for me because I'm with you, John. I can't.
The non-terror elevator, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't like that elevator.
Except here's the thing. This is like Sunday afternoon. We step into the elevator, right? And it's us, it's me, Dean, and one other dude, like one other guy. We step into the elevator, the door's shut. And so the front, you know, there's double doors, right? The front door is shut fine. The right hand of the double door is shut fine on the inside. The left hand drops off its track and just is like, "Pa! We're going down in the door." And I'm standing in this elevator with Dean and some guy I don't know. And I'm like, I can't be, I'm also, not only do I not like heights, I am very claustrophobic. So I'm standing in this elevator and I'm like, press the button, get us out of here, get us out of here, get us out of here. And this poor dude who doesn't even notice is like, he presses the button, the door is open, and this whole ass door is off its track. It's like, it's hanging. So like, here's the top of the elevator. It's hanging like this, and the door is open, and it's like, and it just like disappears. And I'm just like, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. And this guy, like, he pressed the like alarm button to like call people to like fix the elevator or whatever. But I was just like, this would have been, I'm not even kidding you, my worst nightmare is getting stuck in an elevator.
This is Tara's final destination.
It's like, yeah, seriously. And so whatever, we didn't get stuck in there, but then we also still had to go to the 44th floor. So we go up and I'm just like, yep.
Yeah, but now we're on the glass one instead of the
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now I can see everything and I'm just like,
and we just had that experience. So Tara was
I was
What?
a mess. I was a mess.
but I got to hold you for a minute, so that was lovely.
The way down was even worse because I was like, we were still in that outside elevator and we could see everything. And I was like, no, I don't want to be up here. I don't want to do this. And the other people in the elevator are looking at me like I'm the weirdest person in the world. And I'm like, I didn't choose this. Okay, you guys.
No, that's me too
choose
in
this
the elevator.
life.
I have to face the door. I have to like grip the rail.
Yep,
I have to hold my luggage. I'm like, I'm sorry, just like pile in behind me. I'm right here.
I'm not
backing
leaving.
up. I'm holding my ground.
Okay, so all right, one more thing before we actually end. Upcoming events. This does not have to be conventions if you have not on your horizon, but anything fun that's coming up on the works. I'll go first, just because I know what mine are. I might go to this supposed official Game of Thrones convention that's happening in Vegas in February because it's like 3.5 hours away from me now. But the biggest thing is Gang goes to Ice and Fire Con. That's April 2022. So if you're a Game of Thrones or a Song of Ice and Fire fan, I suggest checking us out because we modeled our convention after Dragon Con. So it is like, it was literally a bunch of Dragon Con friends who are also Game of Thrones friends who started this convention. So it is like us just drinking in a hotel all weekend, and there's panels, but there's also a whole bunch of other fun events, like crazy fun events that like you wouldn't see at like a convention center convention or whatever. So yeah, that's April 21st to the 24th, 2022. I will say we just announced that vaccination or a negative COVID test within 72 hours is required. I'm based on what I have seen from our attendees who answered our survey about this, I would not hesitate to say that 95% or more of our attendees will be vaccinated. So A++. There's probably nothing else on my horizon unless there's like a bunch of Red Dead guests going to like a more local convention at one time. Yeah, we'll see about that. So Aaron, anything else on your horizon?
I being Pittsburgh based, we have the
Nice.
Steel City Con. It's like 4 times a year. It's a little one, but you'd be surprised who shows up. A lot of
four
Wait,
times
yeah,
a
what?
year?
Yeah, Steel City Con is like 4 times a year.
Wow.
4 times a year. Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
Scouser comes down from Buffalo with his boys all the time, and we meet up. It's great. It's a smaller convention. It's a weekend. It's a lot of vendors. So it started as like a retro toy fair, and then morphed as cons became popular. And Pittsburgh doesn't have a convention really. We had Wizard World for like a minute, and it left. And Replay FX, which was a video gaming pinball convention, closed for good last year. So that happens a bunch, and we pop in. But the big things I have next is PAX Unplugged in Philly in December, and PAX East in March in Boston. Maybe this little thing called Ice and Fire Con in April.
Nice.
Ooh.
In Ohio.
You should go. It's not far. I promise you it'll be so fun. We'll talk about it.
I got to
know people, you know.
Yeah.
I got to pet a wolf at the last one.
Oh, that's
that will happen next one too, although I do have to contact them. Wow.
Oh.
Jesse, what about you? Anything coming up?
If I finally go to Ice and Fire Con, if it finally happens, I will probably go, because the other previous years, like I have a thing where my friend did Thrones Miss and Thrones Giving, and it would always be like I'd have to plan for that when Game of Thrones came back, but like I think whenever Game of Thrones came back, it was the same time or about the same time as Ice and Fire Con, and I couldn't swing it. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But I
lame.
want to come this year because now we don't have to worry about that stupid show at all.
Mm-hmm. All right, John, what about you? Anything coming up soon?
So mid-October, a lot of Game of Thrones fans from the AfterCon group are renting out Ancient Lore Village. So you've never heard of this because in my town, an eccentric millionaire built a Hobbit-esque retreat, but it has to be like copyright separate from Lord of the Rings. So it's a weird Hobbit village. Anyway, so the After Con of Thrones people are like meeting up there, so you can rent it out, and that's going to be interesting. That's coming up mid-October. I'm also curious about this Vegas February.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it seems agreeable. I think I'll check it out. And of course, I always go to Ice and Fire Con. Great people who run it. Looking forward to it. See you guys next year.
Great people who are earning it. Thank you. Thank you. All right,
person.
Dean, what about you?
Well, obviously, Ice and Fire. The February one sounds interesting. I haven't done Littlefinger for a while, and that sounds like a good place to do it. Yeah, Tara's favorite costume of mine, by the way.
Blech.
I mean,
Um,
you do look a fair bit like him when you don't have like the full beard.
Right.
Oh,
well,
no, he does, but I hate it because Littlefinger is gross.
Littlefinger would be a
Because
good
dog,
variant.
shake, little
Variant Littlefinger, like
Yeah.
Oh my.
right.
Oh, biggest
Oh.
finger, middle finger,
Oh,
little
no.
finger.
Oh, my God. Yes, that would be perfect. Where's the
Chaos is burdened with glorious purpose.
Ooh.
Chaos is burdened with a glorious
that.
ladder.
Beyond that, I don't know. There's not really anything happening. I don't think beyond that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Comic-Con's possibility eventually, but
That's so far away.
certainly Dragon Con eventually, but
All right. Okay. Well, on that note, thank you again for joining us for Drinkin Con 2021, The Hangover.
All right. Ready?
You can. All right. Yeah. One last sip, y'all. One last sip. Cheers. 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 Cheers.
I'm finishing it.
Again, you can find me across the web at a Geek Saga. Definitely check out our other hosts here. And also, if you're looking for intermediary things and you read some books, you can find me at Sagas and Sass. We're a literary webcast that covers one genre series at a time. And it's a really fun. We'll be covering the Daevabad trilogy starting in a couple weeks. I think it's like Wednesday, September 22nd. Other than that, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for listening to Tara Lynn's A Geek Saga podcast. If you like what you heard, please check out my website, ageeksaga.com, or consider supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/ageeksaga.